Chapter 23-27, Medicine Faculty, 2, Qin Feng frowned slightly. Everyone else was stunned by Song Yanhan's words. Damn! Is Song Yanhan planning to partner with our Qin Feng? Lei Yan immediately sensed the underlying meaning behind Song Yanhan's words. The inter-academy competition did not only pit individual students against each other. There was another somewhat strange rule that one had to compete in teams. A martial arts practitioner had to team up with an alchemist. Usually, Song Yanhan would never partner with any of the other students from the academy. It seemed that for the inter-academy competition, he decided to put down his pride and accept a martial arts practitioner into his team. This was the instruction of Song Yanhan's teacher. After all, no matter how high level an alchemist was, there would be times when he would need someone with physical prowess. Song Yanhan's words raised a commotion. Even the eyes of Hang Wenwei and his group lit up. They gazed at Qin Feng with admiration. Qin Feng is so lucky to be able to partner with Song Yanhan. That's Qin Feng you're talking about. He stands shoulder to shoulder with Ran Mo as the two most powerful students in the academy. Why else do you think Song Yanhan would choose him? Sigh, if only I was more powerful. I also want such a high-level alchemist. Elixirs were very important to martial arts practitioners. Finding a suitable alchemist was like adding wings to a tiger. For a high-level alchemist like Song Yanhan, it was only natural that many people wanted him as their partner. He was still young, but his elixir refining skills were already top-notch. It was almost certain that he would become a master alchemist after leaving the Netherworld Academy. It was just a matter of time. Perhaps he could even become a Grand Master. It would be perfect if one could establish close ties with him while still in the academy. Wait a minute. We already have Yun Chen. Lei Yan suddenly realized an issue. Their boss knew how to refine elixirs, but after teaching Yun Chen, Yi Qing passed on all the elixir refining duties to him. As a result, all the elixirs they have been using were all refined by Yun Chen. It could be said that Yun Chen was their shared alchemist. Lei Yan's words attracted the attention of Hang Wenwei and the rest. They all stared at Lei Yan with incredulous eyes. It was true that Yun Chen was from the medicine faculty, but if they remembered correctly from a few months ago, Yun Chen could barely refine half an elixir. Meanwhile, what level was Song Yanhan at? This was a teenager who stood right at the top of the medicine faculty. Could these two be compared at all? Even a fool knew who Qin Feng should choose. Song Yanhan seemed to have heard Lei Yan's words. He casually glanced at Yun Chen. Both of them were from the medicine faculty. How could he possibly not know of Yun Chen? This useless piece of trash who could barely refine a single elixir. Elixirs are very important to a martial arts practitioner. Not all elixirs refined by an alchemist are safe to be consumed, Song Yanhan said. The hidden meaning behind his words was clear to Nangong Lai and the others. Their faces instantly darkened. Was he saying that Yun Chen's elixirs were not safe for consumption? Song Yanhan didn't intend to say too much to Qin Feng. He had heard of what happened yesterday and knew that the powers of Qin Feng and his group had increased tremendously. And their teacher was that youth standing behind them. Song Yanhan walked over to Yi Qing. Teacher Yi, Qin Feng, and the others are your students. As they will be representing the Netherworld Academy in the inter-academy competition, this concerns the very reputation of our academy. Chapter 23-28, Medicine Faculty, 3, Song Yanhan lifted his hand slightly and the medicine faculty students behind him stepped forward. These are the alchemists from our medicine faculty. Even the lousiest of them is at least a mid-grade alchemist. Teacher Yi, none of your students have official alchemist partners. Today, I have brought them along to partner with your students so that we can contribute our best efforts for the academy in the inter-academy competition. Song Yanhan's words sounded noble and there was actually nothing wrong with his way of thinking. However, he had purposely ignored Yun Chen from the beginning to the end. It was like he had never heard what Lei Yan said earlier about Yun Chen being their alchemist. Yi Qingtang looked at the arrogant Song Yanhan without any expression before she turned toward Yun Chen. As always, Yun Chen had his usual nonchalant smile. But that smile stung Yi Qingtang's heart. Having one's martial arts practitioner snatched away by another alchemist right in front of him was a great humiliation. It was a complete disregard for his elixir refining skills. Only an alchemist with a much higher skill level would dare to do this. No need. Qin Feng and the others already have an alchemist partner. There was no way Yi Qingtang would allow any one of her little brats to be derided in this manner. Song Yanhan was taken aback by Yi Qing's words. He never expected her to reject him. It should be pointed out that countless martial arts students wished to be his partner. Even their teachers had personally stepped forward to persuade him, but they were all rejected. Today, he had taken the initiative to offer this partnership, only to receive such a response. Song Yanhan instinctively glanced at Yun Chen. Teacher Yi, don't tell me that Yun Chen is the alchemist you are talking about. Yes, Yi Qingtang replied. Ridicule flashed across Song Yanhan's eyes. It is natural that you wish to promote your own student, but it is not right for you to drag down everyone else just for the sake of one person. Don't you know what kind of help an exceptional alchemist can bring to a martial arts practitioner? Song Yanhan continued unabashedly. In the past, Yun Chen could barely refine anything. Although he can produce some elixirs now, it is not enough. Teacher Yi might be good at teaching martial arts, but elixir refinement is an entirely different matter. I hope that you won't implicate others for your own selfish needs. To the medicine faculty, they didn't care how many Divine Lord level students this teacher Yi had produced. Alchemy and martial arts were two different domains. The elixir refinement skills of even an emperor level practitioner would be inferior to that of an elementary stage alchemist. I heard that you implicated all your students in one of your personal vendettas. You are only protecting Yun Chen like this because you are worried you would lose your bet if he doesn't pass the selection trials. Teacher Yi, you might be their teacher, but you cannot be so selfish. Song Yanhan looked at Yi Qing without an ounce of respect in his eyes. His tone was scornful and derisive. It was apparent that Song Yanhan didn't believe anyone would reject his offer. The only reason could be that Yi Qing wished to promote his own student. With such a narrow mindset, wasn't she just holding back Qin Feng and the others? The faces of Qin Feng and the others instantly darkened on hearing Song Yanhan's disgusting words. Chapter 23-29, Trust. 1. I don't think that Yun Chen is inferior to the other medicine faculty students, Yi Qingtang replied in a mild tone. She had taught him herself and was well aware of his skill level. Song Yanhan and all the other medicine faculty students were stunned by Yi Qing's claim. Yun Chen was not inferior to them. Was Teacher Yi a fool? Some of the medicine faculty students had come over just to watch a good show. But now, they couldn't help feeling somewhat speechless. Is this teacher joking? What kind of standard is Yun Chen? He must be joking. This teacher is new and has only been here a few months. He majors in martial arts. Why in the world was Yun Chen assigned to him? What? A martial arts teacher teaching elixir refinement? Are you kidding me? Can he refine elixirs? Does he know what alchemy is? He knows nothing and yet he dares to make such audacious claims here. Refine elixirs? He must be able to tell the difference between the various herbs first. Why did this person reject Song Yanhan? I think he must be teaching elixir refinement the same way as martial arts. He has no idea of the disparity between Song Yanhan and Yun Chen. It's as wide as heaven and earth. This is alchemy, what does it have to do with a martial arts teacher? Coming over here to make a fool of himself. The medicine faculty students were disgusted by Yi Qing's fake attitude of expertise. He was just a layman at best. How dare he stand before them and judge the skill level of the students here? Song Yanhan raised his brows slightly before he glanced at Yun Chen. Oh. I am afraid this is your own opinion. With Yun Chen's abilities, it would be difficult for him to be selected for the Inter-Academy competition. Even if Qin Feng and the others partner with him, he might not qualify for the competition anyway. If that were to happen, Qin Feng and the others would lose their chance to compete. Teacher Yi, Is this really what's best for your students? Song Yanhan's words were extremely harsh. He was more or less trampling Yun Chen's name into the mud. But the surrounding students all felt that there was nothing wrong with what he said. In their eyes, Yun Chen was not fit to stay on in the medicine faculty anyway. Let alone the fact that Yi Qing was a martial arts teacher. What could he possibly teach Yun Chen? Yi Qingtang looked at Song Yanhan. Who said Yun Chen won't qualify for the Inter-Academy competition? Song Yanhan smiled. If Yun Chen can enter the Inter-Academy competition, it will only be because every single medicine faculty student is automatically qualified. Teacher Yi, alchemy is not as simple as you think. The refinement of elixirs is not just a matter of throwing a bunch of herbs together. Yi Qingtang gazed impassively at Song Yanhan as she observed Yun Chen from the corner of her eye. Yun Chen had remained silent right from the start. It was like he was already used to all the insults and ridicule. That gentle, nonchalant smile remained on his face. But it was exactly that smile that made Yi Qingtang's heart ache. I don't know about the others, but Yun Chen is guaranteed to qualify, Yi Qingtang repeated. Song Yanhan frowned slightly at Yi Qing's words. Just as he was about to say something, an aged voice rang out. Yanhan, have you not settled the matter yet? An elder with a long white beard strolled through the crowd. All the students in the medicine faculty immediately stepped back respectfully and made way for the elder. Chapter 2330, Trust, 2, Master. Song Yanhan was startled by the arrival of the elder. This elder was called Zhu Ning and was the most experienced teacher in the medicine faculty. He was also the most highly skilled alchemist in the entire faculty. Given his reputation in the medicine faculty, even the medicine faculty head or the Netherworld Academy president Wu Fengling had to give him some leeway. With Zhu Ning's abilities, there was no need for him to remain in the academy. But he had a unique character and made a bet with Wu Fengling many years ago. After losing, he agreed to stay on in the Netherworld Academy as a teacher. Zhu Ning's criteria for selecting disciples were even more stringent than Wu Fengling's. To date, he had only personally mentored 2 disciples. One was Song Yanhan. The other was the legendary Grand Master Alchemist. Zhu Ning came to Song Yanhan's side. His brows were furrowed and he appeared very impatient. As Zhu Ning only taught Song Yanhan about elixir refinement, he seldom bothered himself about other matters. All he knew was that Song Yanhan was preparing to partner with a martial arts practitioner, but did not ask him whom he had chosen. The arrogant Song Yanhan immediately put on a humble manner the moment he saw Zhu Ning. Master, the matter of partnership, there has been a hiccup. What happened? Zhu Ning asked. Song Yanhan replied, I was willing to partner with Qin Feng, but Qin Feng's teacher isn't agreeable. With that, Song Yanhan looked at Yi Qing. Zhu Ning's face darkened before his eyes followed Song Yanhan's line of sight. When he saw Yi Qing, his face did not betray any emotion. Why? Zhu Ning asked. Based on what Zhu Ning understood, no one in the entire academy was good enough to be Song Yanhan's partner. Yet, this teacher was refusing to let his own students partner with Song Yanhan. Yi Qingtang replied, Qin Feng already has an alchemist partner. Who? Zhu Ning asked. Yi Qingtang's gaze landed on Yun Chen. Yun Chen. Zhu Ning frowned when he heard that before he instinctively turned to look at Yun Chen. You are part of the medicine faculty. Zhu Ning felt that Yun Chen looked very unfamiliar. He did not recall having such a student in the faculty. Master, Yun Chen does belong to our faculty, but Master has probably never met him before as his elixir refinement skills are too low. He has failed nearly every single one of the monthly tests. Song Yanhan immediately spoke up. Now and then, Zhu Ning would give pointers to students who showed talent. With Yun Chen's skills, he had not been worthy to even stand before Zhu Ning. It was no wonder Zhu Ning had no impression of him. At that, Zhu Ning's face darkened. Why is a student of such low quality still in the medicine faculty? Who is his teacher? Why haven't we kicked him out? An alchemist who couldn't refine elixirs. What a joke. Song Yanhan gave a secret smile. I am Yun Chen's teacher. Zhu Ning looked at Yi Qing with his brows slightly furrowed. You are not a teacher from the medicine faculty. That's right. I am Yi Qing and just joined the academy recently, Yi Qing Tang replied. Zhu Ning's face darkened even further. An alchemy student who could not refine any elixirs and a teacher who was not from the medicine faculty. What kind of combination was that? It was a complete farce. You are his teacher. You are from another faculty, what can you teach him? This is ridiculous. Zhu Ning had been obsessed with alchemy all his life. He could not tolerate people who treated alchemy as just a frivolous hobby. Chapter 23:31, Trust, 3, I teach him about elixir refinement, of course. Yi Qing Tang stated in a mild tone. Zhu Ning gave a cold laugh. He felt that Yi Qing was just a fool spouting nonsense. Someone like you teaching elixir refinement? Perhaps if there was no other teacher left in the faculty. The medicine faculty is not somewhere you can come and go as you please. Leave here immediately. Song Yanhan felt very smug as he watched Zhu Ning admonish Yi Qing. Yun Chen is a student from the medicine faculty and today is the faculty selection trials. Why can't he be here? Yi Qing Tang questioned Zhu Ning with a steady stare. Zhu Ning looked like he had just heard a great joke. Him? He wants to participate in the selection trials. Why? What's wrong with that? Yi Qing Tang asked. Zhu Ning suddenly laughed. Good. I want to see what kind of alchemist a teacher from another faculty can produce. I will state this now. Yun Chen will never be able to qualify for the inter-academy competition. What if he does? Yi Qing Tang insisted. Zhu Ning replied in a cold voice, if someone like him can qualify, I will seal off my tripod forever and never refine elixirs ever again. But if he fails to qualify, neither of you are allowed to ever step foot inside the medicine faculty. In addition, you must kneel and apologize to the entire medicine faculty for your arrogance and ignorance. Deal. Yi Qing Tang agreed without any hesitation. Boss. Yun Chen was shocked. In return, Yi Qing only shot him a, keep quiet and stay calm, look. Zhu Ning snorted. I look forward to it then. With that, Zhu Ning turned to leave. Song Yanhan followed him. All the medicine faculty students stared at Yi Qing as if he was insane. Had yesterday's success gone to Teacher Yes' head? Did he really think that just because he produced a few Divine Lord-level students, he was now invincible? This was the medicine faculty. Even if you were an emperor-level practitioner, it was an entirely different matter to stand in front of a tripod. Teacher Yi was just asking for it. Watching Zhu Ning and the others depart, Yun Chen turned toward Yi Qing. Boss, you didn't have to do that, Yi Qing interrupted, it's not an issue, I already made that bet with Di Noa. It's just another bet. No harm going all in now. Anyway, with that, Yi Qing Tang patted Yun Chen on the shoulder. Yun Chen, you are my student. I believe in you. She had taught Lei Yan and the others about martial arts. As for elixir refinement, she had only taught Yun Chen. In the Evil Soul Forest, Yun Chen would cultivate with Lei Yan and the others during the day. When night fell, he would practice elixir refinement on his own. And Yi Qing Tang had seen it all. Over the past few months, Yun Chen had worked 100 times harder than any normal person. In both her previous and current life, she would only have Yun Chen as an alchemy disciple. With 2 lives' worth of knowledge, she was certain that she would be able to produce an alchemy genius. Yun Chen was taken aback by Yi Qing's words. He then lowered his eyes. Boss, I understand. The bet had been made, so there was no going back now. The only thing he could do now was to give his best and protect his teacher's honor. Yun Chen, don't worry. We are all behind you. The elixirs you produce are so much better than Song Yanhan's. Don't worry, just go ahead and do what you do best. Lei Yan and the others stepped forward and patted Yun Chen on the shoulder, showing their support. We don't need any other alchemist. You are more than enough for us. Hang Wenwei and his group never expected things to progress in this way. If it had been them, they would probably not have been able to reject Song Yanhan's offer. Chapter 2332, Palm Flame, 1, but for some unknown reason, Yi Qing had just directly rejected him. There was no mercy nor hesitation at all. Not only that, Qin Feng and the others did not protest either. They even showed their firm support. Had they all gone mad? Rejecting Song Yanhan just for one Yun Chen. And offending Zhu Ning. They were digging their own graves. Zhu Ning was scowling as he led Song Yanhan away. Halfway, he suddenly spied a familiar figure. Teacher Di Nua. Song Yanhan greeted politely when he saw Di Nua heading their way. As Di Nua was acquainted with Zhu Ning, Song Yanhan was more courteous toward him than he was to other teachers. In response, Di Nua gave a brief nod before looking at Zhu Ning's dark face. What's the matter, Teacher Zhu? Why do you look so grim? Zhu Ning frowned but kept silent. In the end, Song Yanhan narrated the entire incident that had happened earlier. Di Nua smiled after hearing the story. So it's because of Yi Qing. I think that Teacher Zhu and I have the same issue. Oh. How so? Zhu Ning looked doubtful at Di Nua. Di Nua immediately told him about his bet with Yi Qing, but he glossed over his attempts to make things difficult for the youth and only talked about how arrogant Yi Qing was and how he had flouted multiple school rules. The previous encounter already had Zhu Ning dislike Yi Qing. After hearing Di Nua's account, he now detested him even more. I have come today to see if Yun Chen can qualify for the Inter-Academy competition. I wonder what Teacher Zhu thinks. Di Nua asked. Zhu Ning didn't respond but Song Yanhan couldn't resist snorting. Him. Dream on. Teacher Di Nua, Yun Chen is the lousiest student in the medicine faculty. If not for the Lu Yun family clan, he would have been kicked out long ago. Why else would he still be here? Yi Qing might have shown some abilities in martial arts, but today's competition is on elixir refinement. Don't tell me he knows how to teach alchemy too. A smile flashed across Di Nua's eyes on hearing that. If that's the case, it's also a good thing that Yanhan didn't partner with Qin Feng. After all, if Yun Chen fails to qualify for the Inter-Academy competition, the entire group of them would be kicked out of the Netherworld Academy. Upon hearing the news, Song Yanhan felt somewhat better. The selection trials for those in the medicine faculty were about to begin. Unlike those in martial arts, the medicine faculty's trials were more inclusive. Any student who was willing to give it a shot could sign up. The format of the competition was very simple. A few hundred students would be participating in this trial and all competitors had to refine a certain elixir within a fixed amount of time. The quality of the elixir would be judged and the top 10 students selected from there. Yun Chen had already been escorted to the trial arena by Yi Qing Tang and the others. Given his reputation, his appearance attracted quite a number of astonished looks from the other medicine faculty students. No one expected such a lousy student to dare to participate in this trial. And those in the know soon spread the news of the bet between Yi Qing and Di Nua. They also reported on the recent clash between Yi Qing and Zhu Ning. In an instant, a fierce discussion was ignited across the entire medicine faculty. Everyone believed that Yi Qing must be mad. Could he even teach alchemy? On what basis did he dare to go head-to-head with Zhu Ning? I think Yi Qing is getting ahead of himself. Just because he managed to produce a few good martial arts students, he now thinks that the medicine faculty is also his domain. Chapter 2333, Palm Flame, 2, Just wait and see. Not only would he lose the bet with Di Nua, but he'll also lose the bet with our teacher Zhu. By then, we'll be able to see him kneeling on the floor in apology, before crawling out of the Netherworld Academy. As the crowd continued their discussion, the selection trials began. When the elixir for this year's trial was announced, dismayed cries echoed across the entire arena. Sky Spirit Jade Elixir. My goodness, am I seeing it right? We are going to compete based on that. Madness, madness. Who the hell can refine this elixir? Damn, luckily I didn't take the risk to sign up. Otherwise I would end up utterly humiliated. This is a high-grade elixir, although we sometimes refine elixirs beyond our grade, the success rate is pathetic. It would be considered a major stroke of luck to succeed just once over 100 tries. Even if a high-level alchemist attempts this, his success rate would not be more than 10%. The crowd felt that this year's trial was too ruthless. For this grade of elixir, not only did one have to select the required ingredients with the utmost care, the process of brewing it was extremely arduous. Just the slightest mistake would result in failure. Even if one carried out all the steps correctly, they still might not succeed. This type of high-grade elixir was an impossible challenge to the medicine faculty students. Those students, who had been full of confidence when they turned up for the trial, were now utterly shattered by those 4 words, Sky Spirit Jade Elixir. Meanwhile, after seeing the topic, one lone person amongst the candidates immediately stood up and went to collect the necessary ingredients. Damn, who is so formidable? They're ready to start already. Everyone turned to look and realized that it was Song Yanhan. Their amazement instantly faded away. Apart from Song Yanhan, no one else could refine this elixir. Look at Song Yanhan's tripod. Isn't that the same one left behind by that legendary figure? The crowd finally noticed that Song Yanhan's tripod looked exceptionally outstanding. It was a dark gold tripod only about half the height of a normal person. Although it was much smaller than the usual tripod, no one would suspect its quality. After all, this tripod was a treasure left behind by that Grand Master alchemist. Zhu Ning had kept this tripod since that legendary figure left. It was rumored that many alchemists were willing to pay a good fortune to buy that tripod, but they had all been rejected. And now, that divine-level tripod was in Song Yanhan's possession. It could be seen just how highly Zhu Ning regarded him. Song Yanhan's speed was the fastest. While the rest of the candidates were still in a confused daze, he had already selected the appropriate ingredients and started the preparations. The other candidates finally snapped out of their reverie. Since they were here, they might as well just give it their best shot. Stepping forward, they moved to choose the ingredients. Nearly all the best ingredients had already been snatched up by the candidates. Meanwhile, one person remained unmoving. Don't tell me Yunqin is scared stiff. But I am not surprised. He probably doesn't even know the recipe for the Sky Spirit Jade Elixir. I already said he shouldn't have joined. Isn't he just asking for it? This was completely within the crowd's expectations. No one bothered about that useless low-level student anymore. Instead, they all focused on Song Yanhan. It was a pleasure to watch his fluid, practiced movements. On the high stage, a satisfied glint flashed across Zhu Ning's eyes as he observed Song Yanhan's actions. Chapter 2334, Palm Flame, 3. Meanwhile, Di Nua noticed the immobile Yunqin and his eyes filled with joy. He looked forward to the moment when he could see Yi Qing crawl out of the Netherworld Academy. Boss, what happened to Yunqin? Why is he not moving? Lei Yan had been brimming with confidence, but he was feeling a little panicky now. Why was Yunqin not moving? At least go get the ingredients first. Yi Qing Tang remained silent. She only continued to watch Yunqin with a calm expression. By this stage, most of the candidates had already prepared the ingredients and were starting the refinement process. At this moment, everyone finally realized there was something amiss with Yunqin. He doesn't have any tripod. What's going on? Could he have forgotten to bring it? Someone noticed the empty space around Yunqin. It was completely different from the other candidates who each had their own tripod beside them. How would one refine elixirs without a tripod? Yunqin finally went over to gather the ingredients to start the prep work. His speed was far slower than an average person's. Boss, did you forget to prepare a tripod for Yunqin? Should Nangong Lai and I go and bring one over for him? Yi Qing Tang shot Lei Yan a look. While we were in the Evil Soul Forest, when have you ever seen me or Yunqin use a tripod? Lei Yan was stunned. Jing Zhe suddenly recalled something. He vaguely remembered that Yi Qing usually taught Yun Chen elixir refinement late at night. By then, the rest of them were all dead tired and sleeping like pigs. Once, he happened to wake up in the middle of the night and saw Yi Qing and Yun Chen with fires on their palms. Could it be? Boss, don't tell me. Jing Zhe looked at Yi Qing with a strange expression. Yi Qing smiled but remained silent. At this moment, a sudden cry rang out. Quick, look! What is Yun Chen using to refine his elixir? The crowd thought that with Yun Chen's slow speed, everyone else would have finished refining their elixirs before he even completed the prep work. In the end, his preparation speed had been astonishing. In the blink of an eye, all his ingredients were already properly prepared. And just as everyone had lost interest in him, an intense flame was ignited upon his palm. He placed all the ingredients into his palm. That flame engulfed all the ingredients. What is this? He's not using a tripod, but using his hand. Are you kidding me? Everyone was bewildered. In their knowledge, alchemists always use tripods to refine elixirs. This was the first time they were seeing someone refine elixirs using a flame from their palm. At this point, even Zhu Ning was shocked. Palm flame. How did he learn this? Zhu Ning was utterly stunned. His earlier arrogant manner disappeared. Zhu Ning was obsessed with alchemy and had studied countless ancient records. He had once read about a special elixir refinement method which made use of a palm flame in place of a tripod. With this method, one could better control every parameter of the elixir refinement process. Using this special technique, the elixir quality and success rate would far surpass that of the usual method using a tripod. Even a divine-level tripod would not be able to produce such results. The palm flame was the dream technique that all alchemists aspired towards. However, the palm flame method had already been lost over time. Zhu Ning had searched for 100 years but failed to find any more information on it. Zhu Ning never imagined that he would be able to witness the palm flame method in his lifetime. And it was being executed by Yun Chen, whom he had completely disregarded. Impossible. The palm flame technique was a lost legacy. How did Yun Chen manage to learn it? Zhu Ning's expression shifted. He instinctively turned to look at Yi Qing. Chapter 2335, Perfect Quality. 1. The elusive palm flame technique had been lost for many years. Yi Qing was just a youth in his 20s and a martial arts practitioner, and not even a high-level one at that. There was no way Zhu Ning would believe that such a person would know the palm flame technique. Teacher Zhu. Di Nua, who had been feeling very confident, suddenly noticed the strange look on Zhu Ning's face. Zhu Ning remained silent. Although he could see Yun Chen using a palm flame, he couldn't be 100% sure it was that legendary technique. To confirm it, they would have to wait until Yun Chen completed his refinement. After all, an elixir refined using the palm flame method would possess unique characteristics. At this point, Yi Qing Tang was entirely focused on Yun Chen. Yun Chen's movements were very fast and he was using his palm flame to refine the elixir. All his movements and his entire process was being displayed in front of everyone. Song Yanhan had already placed all his ingredients into the tripod and been refining for some time. He surveyed the arena and saw the anxious expressions on the faces of the other candidates. Their refinement techniques were also largely incorrect. It was just as he had predicted. He was just undergoing today's trial as a courtesy. With his abilities, no other student in the entire Netherworld Academy could compare with him. Used to basking in the spotlight, Song Yanhan was expecting astonished and admiring gazes when he suddenly realized that none of the spectators were even looking at him. In the next second, Song Yanhan's brows were slightly furrowed. Used to being the center of attention, he found it very strange. He instinctively followed the eyes of the spectators. Song Yanhan was dumbstruck by what he saw. Yun Chen had a strong flame in his palm, which was gradually refining the prepped ingredients, slowly transforming them into an elixir pill. This special refinement technique had attracted the attention of everyone. Even the candidates were also watching after having placed their own ingredients into their tripods. What is Yunchen doing? What is going on? What kind of technique is that? The candidates all believed that Yunchen was just showing off some fancy trick to divert attention from his lack of skill. Song Yanhan was the only one whose expression underwent a major shift. Palm flame? As Zhu Ning's disciple, of course he knew about the legendary elixir refinement technique which his master had always dreamed of. But, how did a useless piece of trash like Yunchen know the palm flame technique? There was no way Song Yanhan was willing to believe that Yunchen really knew this technique. Time passed by the minute and second. Yunchen's palm flame suddenly surged and grew stronger. The fire engulfed the ingredients and no one could see his progress. Damn! Boss, what is this special elixir refinement technique? It looks very formidable. Lei Yan widened his eyes. This was the first time he was seeing Yunchen refine elixirs. Previously in the Evil Soul Forest, Yi Qing only taught Yunchen late at night when the rest of them were already snoring like pigs. Yi Qing Tang didn't reply. She merely watched on as Yunchen used his flame with a practiced hand, slowly refining his elixir pill. Meanwhile, Gong Jinyun and his group were somewhat confused. They didn't know much about alchemy and were at a loss about what was happening. But, Yunchen's elixir refinement technique did look rather fancy. It would be some time before the Sky Spirit Jade elixirs would be done. Everyone was waiting in anticipation of the results. Chapter 2336, Perfect Quality, 2, Song Yanhan's eyes were focused on Yunchen's hand. Even now he could not confirm whether it was the palm flame. As time passed by the minute and second, the sky started to darken with the night. Song Yanhan looked away again. His elixir had been successfully refined. The surrounding students were now somewhat bored and tired. When they saw Song Yanhan about to open his tripod and take out his elixir, everyone immediately perked up. Song Yanhan has finished refining his elixir. Everyone was amazed. They immediately turned towards Song Yanhan. A wonderful fragrance spread across the arena when the tripod was opened, leaving behind a bluish-green elixir pill in the tripod. The elixir was covered in a faint, shimmery glow, looking exceptional under the moonlight. Retrieving his successfully completed elixir, Song Yanhan placed it in an open silk box. Song Yanhan was the first to complete his concoction. Thereafter, an increasing number of candidates also ended their refinement process, but when they opened their tripods, the disparity was clear for all to see. Apart from Song Yanhan, the elixirs of all the other candidates were dull and lackluster. Some of the pills didn't even form properly at all. Quite a number of the elixirs were also suffused with a thick medicinal smell. It should be pointed out that the most obvious sign of a successful refinement of the Sky Spirit Jade elixir was its clear, light fragrance. And that medicinal smell was proof of failure. Those candidates felt their hearts sink into the floor when they looked at their own pills before looking at Song Yanhan's. There was no comparison at all. I say, this year's test is just too difficult. The number of people who are able to concoct this elixir in the first place can be counted on one hand. And to compete on quality. Select 10 candidates. It would be a blessing to even find 5 who managed to produce a proper elixir. I say. Yunchen has been burning his for an entire day already. Have his ingredients been reduced to ashes? Someone noticed that Yunchen had yet to complete his refinement. As most of the candidates had already concluded the test, the teachers in charge of judging the quality of the elixirs walked over. They inspected all the completed elixirs. The more they inspected, the more solemn their faces grew. As a part of the Netherworld Academy Medicine faculty, they had once produced a Grand Master Alchemist. What happened to these students? What the hell did they concoct? Was this even considered a concoction? Looking at those charred black, shapeless objects, the teachers couldn't believe those things were meant to be elixirs. A few could be considered more or less properly formed, but the quality was terribly inferior. When they arrived in front of Song Yanhan and saw his bluish-green elixir, smiles finally broke out on the grim faces of those teachers. Not bad. One of the teachers was very pleased as he inspected the elixir. Song Yanhan's elixir refinement had been a success. The quality was not perfect, but the Sky Spirit Jade elixir had always been a very difficult pill to refine. Song Yanhan was the only one who managed to produce a successful elixir. And with the quality of his Sky Spirit Jade elixir, countless people on the outside would be willing to pay top dollar for it. Elder Zhu has indeed produced a good disciple. All the teachers were full of praise for Song Yanhan. Even they might not have been able to successfully concoct a Sky Spirit Jade elixir in one try. But Song Yanhan had managed to do it. Indeed, he deserved his reputation as the top student in the medicine faculty. Chapter 2337, Perfect Quality, 3, Song Yanhan maintained his usual expression. After all, he had always been very confident of his own skills. Looking at the teachers' reactions, the candidates knew that Song Yanhan's refinement had been successful and the quality must be pretty good. Song Yanhan is really a genius freak. This Sky Spirit Jade elixir is so perversely difficult. To think that he was able to concoct it. I have to concede defeat, it's pointless to try and compare myself to him. It will be a breeze for me to qualify for the Inter-Academy competition if I am even half as good as Song Yanhan. Just as the crowd was full of admiration and praise for Song Yanhan, a bluish-green glow suddenly appeared in the arena. Everyone's attention was instantly attracted by that glow. Turning to look, the crowd was stunned by what they saw. Everyone had nearly forgotten about Yun Chen. No one noticed that he had just finished his refinement. The flame in his palm had disappeared and a glowing bluish-green elixir rested on his palm. A single glance was enough to send everyone into a stupefied daze. What is going on? Is this for real? Yun Chen really managed to produce it? What the? No matter how I look at it, the color of his elixir appears to be even purer than Song Yanhan's. Song Yanhan had also noticed the situation and his brow furrowed in consternation. Startled, the teachers walked over to Yun Chen. Up on the high stage, Zhu Ning's expression turned extremely grave. The moment they ascertained the quality of Yun Chen's elixir, he would know whether it was the palm flame. Those teachers arrived at Yun Chen's side. Right from the first glance, they were instantly bewildered by his Sky Spirit Jade elixir. After all, they were all alchemists and could easily determine the quality of elixirs. From the moment they approached Yun Chen, the light fragrance of the Sky Spirit Jade elixir drifted into their nostrils. Just the scent alone instantly washed away all their tiredness. Even Song Yanhan's Sky Spirit Jade elixir did not have that effect. The teachers exchanged glances. As teachers from the medicine faculty, they knew of Yun Chen's reputation. They had been frustrated by his lack of skill and chose to simply ignore him. But now, the Sky Spirit Jade elixir resting in his palm had stunned them all. The quality of this elixir, one of the teachers had a strange expression on his face. He picked up the pill and examined it closely with the other teachers. Song Yanhan was also watching the entire process. Good. 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 Exhilarated exclamations rang out from the mouths of those teachers, and the entire crowd found themselves dazed by the teachers' shouts. What did they mean by good? Yun Chen, we never expected you to be able to successfully concoct a perfect quality Sky Spirit Jade elixir. You have given us a great surprise. One of the teachers looked at Yun Chen with an ear-splitting beam on his face. He happily patted Yun Chen on the back, his excitement evident for all to see. A perfect quality Sky Spirit Jade elixir. Are you kidding me? By Yun Chen. Everyone was dumbstruck by the teacher's words. Those medicine faculty students stared at Yun Chen in shock. They suspected that they must be too tired after standing there the whole day, and were hallucinating now. How challenging was it to refine a Sky Spirit Jade elixir? And how lousy was Yun Chen's skill level? Perfect quality. Impossible. No one believed that Yun Chen could even refine it in the first place. But why would the medicine faculty teachers tell a lie in front of everyone? Chapter 2338, Doubt, 1, Don't tell me, this is real. Impossible. Even Song Yanhan didn't manage to produce a perfect quality elixir. How could Yun Chen? The students exchanged looks as if they had just seen a ghost. Song Yanhan was also thunderstruck. Those teachers were completely immersed in the creation of the perfect quality elixir. It should be pointed out that successfully concocting a pill was not the most difficult part. The most difficult was producing one which was perfect quality. Even a master-level alchemist would not dare to guarantee that he could refine perfect quality elixirs every single time. So the level of difficulty could only be left to the imagination. They never held much regard for Yun Chen. They never expected such a great surprise today. The teachers immediately brought that elixir onto the high stage to let Zhu Ning have a look. After all, Zhu Ning was the most highly skilled teacher in the medicine faculty. Zhu Ning had heard the teacher's exclamations. When he saw the elixir up close, his expression grew extremely solemn. Meanwhile, Di Nua was now in a complete daze. He never dreamed that Yun Chen would be successful in his refinement. He had no idea how difficult it was to refine a Sky Spirit Jade elixir, but he had observed that less than 5 candidates had managed to successfully produce one. And this included Yun Chen. This meant that Yun Chen had successfully qualified for the Inter-Academy competition. All of Yi Qingtang's students were now in the name list to enter the competition, as specified in their bet. Di Nua felt like he had been struck by lightning. His face was grim to the extreme. He didn't even notice Zhu Ning's increasingly bewildered expression as he examined the elixir. Teacher Zhu, Yun Chen's elixir is truly flawless. Didn't expect this kid to have such hidden talent. Zhu Ning ignored them. He just continued to examine Yun Chen's elixir. Perfect. Truly perfect. Zhu Ning had extremely high standards and was very stringent in his judging, but even he couldn't find any flaws. Zhu Ning himself couldn't refine an elixir of better quality than this. He took a deep breath to suppress the doubts in his heart. He had reached a conclusion. The biggest reason why alchemists hankered after the palm flame was because all elixirs produced by that technique were of perfect quality. That was how formidable it was. When Zhu Ning confirmed the perfect quality of the Sky Spirit Jade elixir, he also confirmed that Yun Chen must have used the palm flame. Teacher Di Nua, who has been teaching Yun Chen over this period? He suddenly asked. Di Nua snapped out of his trance. Yi Qing. Teacher Di Nua, are you sure that Yi Qing was the only one who has been teaching Yun Chen over this period? Zhu Ning furrowed his brows slightly. He knew that Yi Qingtang had claimed to be Yun Chen's teacher, but he just couldn't believe that she was the one who taught him this palm flame. Setting aside the palm flame, just the fact that Yun Chen was able to produce the Sky Spirit Jade elixir was shocking enough. As effective as the palm flame was, one still had to have refinement skills. If he wasn't good enough, he would still end up producing herbal dregs even when using a palm flame. With Yun Chen's lousy elixir refinement abilities, it was a stretch for him to even produce elementary-level elixirs, not to mention high-level pills like the Sky Spirit Jade elixir. Yi Qingtang was a martial arts practitioner. How did she manage to improve Yun Chen's refinement skills by so much over such a short duration? Chapter 2339, Doubt, 2, Di Nua found Zhu Ning's tone rather strange. I think so, but, some time ago, Yi Qing brought Yun Chen and the others out for a period of time. I don't know if anyone else intervened during that period. Zhu Ning took a deep breath. Teacher Di Nua, do you know what technique Yun Chen used to refine his elixir? Di Nua shook his head. He used a palm flame, Zhu Ning said. The confused expression on Di Nua's face showed that he had not heard of it before. Zhu Ning continued. Teacher Di Nua, you should know that the palm flame is a technique which all alchemists dream of. Even my most accomplished disciple, he spent many years and made use of countless connections to try and find it, but to no avail. Di Nua's face stiffened. The disciple mentioned by Zhu Ning was naturally that Grand Master Alchemist. How high was his status in the second domain? How many great factions wished to get on his good side? Something which even he could not get. It must be priceless. Teacher Di Nua, how much do you know about Yi Qing? Does he have any special talent regarding elixirs? The palm flame was extremely precious. Zhu Ning had to clarify things properly. A conflicted glint flashed across Di Nua's eyes. He knew Zhu Ning very well. Zhu Ning was obsessed with alchemy and maintained his status and reputation up until now as one whose obsession with elixir refinement was more intense and crazed than any normal person. As a result, he would detest a person like Yi Qing to the core. Someone whom he believed treated alchemy like a hobby. All of Zhu Ning's likes and dislikes were linked to alchemy. Di Nua mulled over this for a while before continuing. I don't know much about alchemy and I have not heard any news about Yi Qing having any special elixir refinement skills. Moreover, the palm flame is so rare and precious. If Yi Qing really is that capable, why would he apply to be a teacher in the martial arts faculty? With that palm flame technique alone, it wouldn't be difficult for him to join the medicine faculty, right? Zhu Ning frowned at Di Nua's words. Things were just as Di Nua had said. If someone came to apply to be a medicine faculty teacher with that palm flame technique, no medicine faculty in the entire world would reject him. In fact, there was a higher likelihood that they would fight over him. If not Yi Qing, perhaps he found someone when they were outside? Di Nua asked. He could not let Yi Qing win this bet. How could he believe that Yi Qing was really that good? Di Nua had nearly vomited blood at the results of yesterday's martial arts selection trials. He just could not understand how a Paragon 6th heaven-level person managed to produce 5 Divine Lord stage students. And Zhu Ning's query offered Di Nua an alternative theory that was much more plausible. Even if he was a martial arts genius, how old was he? How could he possibly also be good at alchemy? Not only that, he somehow managed to find the long-lost palm flame. This was not something a person as young as Yi Qing could achieve. Unless he sought out some high-level practitioner from the outside. Otherwise, how else could one explain the rapid advancement of Qin Feng and the rest over just a short few months? Even if Wu Fengling personally mentored them, he wouldn't be able to produce such results. Moreover, it was not just martial arts. Even Yun Chen's elixir was better than Song Yanhan's. This was just ridiculous. Could a youth in his 20s be even more formidable than 2 highly respected elders like Wu Fengling and Zhu Ning? Preposterous. Chapter 2340, Doubts, 3, All those miraculous things happened after Yi Qing brought them out. As Di Nua mulled over it, he became increasingly convinced that he had come upon the truth. No wonder Yi Qing dared to make that bet with him. He was a fake. Yi Qing must have brought his students out and found someone who was not a Netherworld Academy teacher to teach them. He then brought them back to pass off their progress as his own hard work, gaining recognition for things he was undeserving of. With this kind of character, Wu Fengling would never keep him. Since he was a fake, it would be taken that he had lost the bet. Some color finally returned to Di Nua's ashen face. Zhu Ning continued to look very solemn. He did not care whether it was Yi Qing who taught them. He also did not believe that a young person like him could be so formidable. If anything, he was more intent on finding out who the real practitioner who taught Yun Chen that palm flame was. Yun Chen's perfect quality Sky Spirit Jade Elixir had shaken the hearts of everyone. Lei Yan and the others were about to drag him off for a proper celebration when they saw Zhu Ning and Di Nua coming down from the high stage. They were heading toward Yi Qing and his students. Boss, do you think Teacher Zhu is going to apologize to you? Nangong Lai smirked. Previously, Zhu Ning believed that Yun Chen would never qualify for the Inter-Academy competition. Now, he must be utterly shocked. Not only did Yun Chen qualify, but the quality of his elixir was also even better than that loser, Song Yanhan's. Just the distressed look on Song Yanhan's face sent a thrill down Nangong Lai's spine. Who did he think he was? Did he know who their boss was? Yi Qing didn't say anything. Song Yanhan also noticed Zhu Ning. His face was pale and he looked very grim. He never expected to lose, and definitely not to someone as inconsequential as Yun Chen. Master, Song Yanhan walked over with his pale face. But Zhu Ning only ignored him. Instead, he went over to Yi Qing. Lei Yan and the others got all excited when they saw Zhu Ning come over. They were just waiting to see how that proud old head would bow down before their boss. So he finally realized how formidable their boss was, huh? Yi Qingtang didn't think too much. But after seeing Zhu Ning's expression, she knew that things were not as simple as what her students believed. Yi Qing. Zhu Ning looked at Yi Qingtang impassively. Tell me honestly. Who did you seek out to teach Yun Chen? If you tell me the truth, I will not pursue other matters. Lei Yan and the rest were stunned by Zhu Ning's words. What did he mean by that? Seek out who to teach Yun Chen. Pursue what other matters? This old man was so shameless and a sore loser. Didn't he say that he would seal off his tripod forever? Now, he wanted to pursue things with their boss. What kind of nonsense was Zhu Ning spouting? Di Noa spoke up. Yi Qing, since teacher Zhu has already promised you, just tell the truth. Otherwise things might get ugly. Their statements had attracted quite a bit of attention. The students all knew that Yun Chen had been taught by Yi Qing during this period. Previously, they had been shocked that a martial arts teacher like Yi Qing could teach so well. But Zhu Ning and Di Noa's words instantly solved the mystery. It must be that Yi Qing didn't teach him personally. He had found someone else. Yun Chen's face darkened. Teacher Zhu, I don't know why you are asking such a question. Teacher Yi taught me everything I know. No one else intervened. Chapter 2341, Try it out yourself. 1. Di Noa went on and reprimanded, he is your teacher so of course you would say that. But I have to ask, how did a Paragon 6th heaven level manage to produce 5 Divine Lord stage students in just a few months? And Yun Chen, you know very well what you used to be like. Yi Qing is still so young. What? Don't tell me he also studied alchemy. He was the one who taught you the palm flame. Di Noa's words cleared the confusion of many students. They stared suspiciously at Yi Qing. It was not that there were no good teachers in this world. But they had also found it very unbelievable when they first heard that Yi Qing had produced 5 Divine Lord stage students. After all, he had not been with Qin Feng and the others for long. Before he came, apart from Qin Feng, they had never even heard of their names before. But now, they had all ascended the Divine Lord stage. That alone was fine. Today was even more incredible. Now even Yun Chen, his lone alchemy student, managed to refine an elixir who was even better than Song Yanhan's. If this was real, Yi Qing was probably not human, right? Only a god would be able to perform such miracles. Sometimes, miraculous things would cause amazement. But there was still a limit. It was clear that Yi Qing's 6 students had far surpassed the limits of what these people could accept. They were so powerful that it was truly hard for them to believe. And the worst thing was, Yi Qing was not powerful himself and was still quite young. How on earth did he manage to produce these 6 students? Let alone over such a short period. If this was all real, weren't the rest of the Netherworld Academy people just a bunch of useless idiots? They had been cultivating hard for over a dozen years, but couldn't compare to just a few months under Yi Qing. Yun Chen's smile had faded, and a harsh glint surfaced in his eyes. Lei Yan and the rest also looked similarly grim. Just because their boss was still young and didn't have a high cultivation level, did this mean they could just make such wild accusations and insult him? The teenagers were incensed but Yi Qing suddenly spoke up. So it seems like teacher Di Noa doesn't believe I was the one who taught them. Di Noa put on an arrogant, that's right, expression. Teacher Zhu is of the same opinion. Yi Qing looked at Zhu Ning. Although Zhu Ning didn't speak, his face showed that he agreed with Yi Qing's question. Boss, let's go. This shitty Netherworld Academy, we don't need this place. Lei Yan gritted his teeth. They were all so arrogant that he had already lost all interest in being in this school. If not for the fact that he had been so scared of being kicked out and enduring a beating from his father, he would have fled long ago. Now, these people were insulting their boss right in front of them. This was unbearable. There was no need to stay in such a terrible place. Di Nua, let me tell you, our boss is several thousand times better than you. You will never be able to compare to him in this life, in your next life, or even in your next life. You can't produce good students yourself and yet you want to stop our boss from teaching? Just you wait, I will settle this score with you one day. Lei Yan was livid. He already noticed that Di Nua didn't like Yi Qing and was always purposely stirring trouble for him. While he was no match for Di Nua now, but there would come a day in the future when he would take revenge for his boss. Boss, let's go. We don't care about staying in this academy. Yun Chen took a deep breath before speaking. He had enough of these people degrading Yi Qing like this. No matter what they said, no one would believe them. These people had always looked down on their boss. Chapter 2342, Try it out yourself, too, their boss was so good. There was no need to stay here and endure this abuse. Boss, we will all leave with you, Jing Zhe said. What? Trying to flee after being exposed? Di Nua sneered. Di Nua had just completed his sentence when a murderous light flashed across Qin Feng's eyes. He drew his sword and stood in front of Yi Qingtang. Say another word and I will kill you today. Qin Feng stared coldly at Di Nua. From her position nearby, Mu Ziying also narrowed her eyes. The puppet in her arms had already disappeared from sight. Hang Wenwei and his group were dumbfounded. They never expected the situation to escalate like this. They also felt that Di Nua was purposely making things difficult for Yi Qing, but Qin Feng dared to draw his sword at a teacher. Damn, what's going on? Ran Mo, hurry up, go An. Hang Wenwei was about to ask Ran Mo to call for reinforcements when he turned to see that Ran Mo had already disappeared. They had just acknowledged Yi Qing as their teacher and still weren't that close to him, but they could feel that Yi Qing was not like what Di Nua and Zhu Ning claimed. He was not someone who would go and find someone else to teach his own disciples. Moreover, just looking at how Qin Feng and the others were willing to lay down their lives for Yi Qing, it could be seen how much respect they had for him. If Yi Qing had not personally taught them, would they respect him so much? This commotion was a shock to everyone in the medicine faculty. In the beginning, Jing Zhe had tried to explain that Yi Qing had taught them everything. But no matter what he said, Di Nua would have some excuse or other to counter his words. The key reason was Yi Qing's cultivation level was too low. It was inconceivable that such a youth could produce several Divine Lord-level students in such a short period of time. It was even more impossible for him to be a godsend in alchemy. As Jing Zhe and the others had been instructed by Yi Qing not to talk about their experience in the Evil Soul Forest, they did not dare to do so. After all, the Evil Soul Forest matter had immense significance. It might even end up triggering the other factions in the second domain. They had to keep it a secret. Yi Qingtang looked at the little brats surrounding her. Her heart felt like it was burning. Back down, Yi Qingtang spoke in a mild tone. As their teacher, how could she let her own disciples stand up for her while she hid behind them? Yi Qingtang did not care what Di Nua and the others thought about her. After all, she had no intention of staying long in the Netherworld Academy, but if this implicated Qin Feng and the rest, she would never back down. Boss, Yi Qingtang shot them a keep quiet and stay calm look before turning toward Di Nua and Zhu Ning. Since the two of you don't believe me, why don't you try me out yourselves? Yi Qingtang smiled. Yi Qing, what do you mean by that? Di Nua frowned. You two believe that I cannot possibly produce Divine Lord-level students and cannot possibly know anything about alchemy. It's just a simple matter. I will challenge you too. If I lose, I will accept all of your accusations. If I win, I hope that you two can honor the terms of our bets. Everyone was dumbstruck by Yi Qing's words. Even Lei Yan and the others had widened their eyes in disbelief. Boss, don't be too impulsive. Just leave this matter to us. Nangong Lai was panicking. They were not worried about boss alchemy skills, but fighting with Di Nua, that was too much. Di Noa was a teacher from the martial arts faculty and had already reached the Divine Lord's second heaven peak level. He was just one step away from the third heaven level. And Yiqing was only a paragon sixth heaven level. The disparity between these two was unimaginable. If it really came down to a battle, Di Noa would be able to finish off Yiqing with just one move. Chapter 2343, Try it out yourself. 3, Boss, let me take your place in the fight. Qin Feng immediately offered. Yiqing Tang remained impassive as she said in a cold voice, if you still treat me as your boss, stand down. Boss. Lei Yan was really in a panic now. Di Noa hated Yiqing so much that if they were to fight, wouldn't he take this opportunity to just kill him? Thud. Lei Yan kneeled down in front of Yiqing. Boss, I cannot back down. Even if you kill me, I refuse to budge. You cannot fight him, I beg you, please. Let us leave now. Netherworld Academy. Inter Academy competition. We don't care about any of that. Let's just head out there together. As a group, we can rule the world. Yiqing Tang's heart grew warm as she looked at Lei Yan's red-rimmed eyes. She pulled him to his feet. As your boss, how can I possibly let you leave with me? Don't worry, if I can't even protect you brats, I am not fit to be your boss. Lei Yan wanted to say something else when Yunchen gritted his teeth and stopped him. Listen to boss. Yunchen, have you gone mad too? Don't you know? Yunchen tightened his grip on Lei Yan's shoulder. When did boss ever say something that didn't come true? If he says he will be fine, we must believe him. No matter what Yiqing said or did, they must believe in him. Lei Yan was stunned. Nangong Lai and the others were also feeling very conflicted. Meanwhile, Di Noa laughed out loud at Yiqing's suggestion. Alright, since you wish to prove yourself in this manner, I will give you a chance. Teacher Zhu, what do you think? Zhu Ning was not at all interested in any of this. The only thing he wanted to know was who taught Yunchen that palm flame. As a result, he remained silent. Within minutes, news of Yiqing challenging a martial arts and an alchemy teacher had spread across the entire medicine faculty. Quite a number of students from the martial arts faculty also heard the news and hurried over. Those who had just arrived did not know what exactly happened. But after hearing the medicine faculty students' narration, they were all dumbstruck. Has he gone mad? Yiqing wants to fight Di Noa. With his low cultivation stage. Wouldn't Di Noa kill him in just one move? I think that he is just feeling guilty. Di Noa's theory is not without reason. Someone who is adept at both martial arts and alchemy. Is he a deity? And he is only a few years older than us. Let's not argue over whether that's true, even if it is, how the hell is he going to fight Di Noa? I just can't understand what this Yiqing is thinking. He's probably a madman. Countless students streamed in to watch a good show. By then, Yiqing was already standing on the platform with Di Noa. Lei Yan and the others stood beneath the platform, feeling more nervous than they had ever felt before. They were feeling even more nervous than when they were undergoing their own trials. Yunchen, you should persuade Teacher Yi not to act so rashly. Ran Mo must have gone to inform the president. The president thinks very highly of Teacher Yi, so I'm sure we can wait until he is here before we make a decision. Qiu Nan spoke in exasperation. Yunchen looked at Yiqing before replying, boss is right, he must be the one to prove himself. No one else can do that. Even if Wu Fengling arrived and calmed the situation down, a rumor was like a seed. Once planted, it would grow rapidly and sprout leaves. Chapter 2344, Swollen Face. 1. Yiqing's reputation in the Netherworld Academy would be ruined. Like this, his students would also be implicated in the rumors and be dragged through the mud. The only way to deal with this was with genuine power. This was the only way to quash those rumors. Yunchen could more or less guess that was what Yiqing was thinking. It was just that he was not sure whether Yiqing was really that confident. Qiu Nan looked rather conflicted. In the end, they had just got to know Yiqing yesterday and were not that close to him. But they all respected his courage and willingness to stand up for himself. Perhaps Lei Yan and the others didn't realize this themselves, but they had completely changed. It was not just their powers, but also their hearts. Previously, they had already given up on themselves in despair. Thanks to Yi Qing's existence in their lives, they had stepped onto the road to becoming stronger. Both their powers and their aspirations had undergone earth-shattering changes. A phrase popped into Qiu Nan's mind. Troops took after their general. Perhaps it was this kind of feeling. Yi Qing was not just their teacher, he was their spiritual leader. Qiu Nan couldn't help feeling somewhat envious. He had his own teacher, but they didn't have this type of deep bond. If he encountered trouble, would his teacher fight for him? And if his own teacher was in trouble, would he also be as brave as Lei Yan and the rest, willing to sacrifice everything to help him? What kind of shared experience forged this kind of bond? On the platform, Yi Qingtang looked as calm as always. Meanwhile, Di Nua had a grin as deep as it was malevolent. Meanwhile, Yi Qingtang looked at Di Nua steadily. She knew he disliked her. This was the kind of scorn an arrogant practitioner had for a weaker one. Perhaps she had already aroused Di Nua's dislike the moment she became a teacher in the Netherworld Academy. But, so what? Having been reborn, there was no way Yi Qingtang would bother about the baseless opinions of others. She was doing this now just so Lei Yan and the others wouldn't have their own names dragged through the mud. There was no way she could leave them with a tarnished reputation of having had a morally corrupt teacher, right? And they had been so protective of this, morally corrupt, boss. Like this, Yi Qingtang would gladly enter into battle for the sake of her brats. Di Nua gazed at Yi Qing. Right from the start, he felt that Yi Qing was just asking for it. A Paragon 6th heaven level practitioner dared to stand on the same platform as him? Yi Qing, I will give you one last chance. If you admit your wrongdoings now, I will spare you the physical pain. Di Nua smiled. Yi Qingtang completely ignored his words. Di Nua's face darkened. Well then, you will only have yourself to blame for what happens today. Anything can happen in a fight, don't blame me if there are any accidents. The threat in Di Nua's voice was clear. Di Nua. If you dare to hurt my boss, I will kill you even if I have to go down into hell with you. Lei Yan hollered. They respected Yi Qing's decision, but this didn't mean they would forgive those who hurt him. As Di Nua glanced at Lei Yan and the others, the amusement in his eyes deepened. Yi Qing, I do admire you for this. You managed to make these teenagers trust you so completely. What kind of potion did you give them? Why are they so loyal to you? Chapter 2345, Swollen Face, 2, Di Nua was not anxious to make his move. After all, with Yi Qing's powers, he could kill him in one move. You really like to talk a lot. Yi Qingtang stared impassively at Di Nua. Di Nua's face stiffened. Make your move and stop wasting time. I still have to compete with Zhu Ning after this match ends. If anything, Yi Qing's words enraged Di Nua. The surrounding students widened their eyes. This Yi Qing is so bold. Or is he just a fool? Does he really think that after this match Di Nua, he will still be able to walk off this platform? Seeing that Yi Qing was so eager to die, Di Nua narrowed his eyes and unleashed his powerful Divine Lord stage aura. So powerful. The crowd couldn't resist gasping. Qin Feng's expression darkened. Ran Mo was also a Divine Lord 2nd heaven level, but he was only at the early stage and Di Nua was at the peak. With Di Nua's powers, even if they all joined forces to fight him, they would still not be a match for Di Nua. Qin Feng quietly clenched his fists as he paid close attention to everything that happened on the platform. He was prepared to dash up at the crucial moment to rescue Yi Qing. The same idea had simultaneously appeared in the minds of Jing Zhe and the others. They didn't care about the academy rules and didn't care about who they offended. They were already prepared to charge up the platform the moment Yi Qing was in danger and then flee with him from the Netherworld Academy. Yi Qingtang stared coldly at Di Nua, whose aura was surging wildly. Still she remained unmoving. Di Nuo was unsurprised at Yi Qing's lack of reaction. Suppressed by a Divine Lord level aura, it was only natural that a Paragon's 6th heaven level practitioner could not move. In the next second, Di Nuo morphed into a golden light and he charged toward Yi Qing. Qin Feng and the rest were extremely tense. Just as Di Nuo was approaching Yi Qing, he suddenly lifted his eyes and parted his lips. Then he uttered a single word. Retreat. The word was spoken lightly, but the moment the word left his lips, Di Nuo felt a buzzing numbness spread across his mind. In the next instant, it was like he had been sent flying across the air by an invisible force. Crash! Di Nuo landed heavily on the platform. Meanwhile, Yi Qing remained standing there, completely unharmed. Apart from his lips, he had not moved a single inch of his body. What happened? Everyone was stupefied by what they had just witnessed. Di Nuo had made his move. Shouldn't Yi Qing have been killed within seconds? Why, was Di Nuo the one who was sent flying instead? Qin Feng and the others were also dumbstruck. They were all prepared to rush up and had already taken one step forward before they all halted in their tracks. What happened? How did Di Nuo end up flying through the air? Collapsed on the ground, Di Nuo felt like he was being completely covered by an invisible force. Shock flashed across his eyes. He had no idea what happened. Get up. Yi Qing's voice rang out again. Following that calm voice, Di Nuo was suddenly lifted into the air by that invisible force. It was spine-chillingly strange. Damn, could there be a ghost? Someone exclaimed. Just as the crowd was feeling very befuddled, Yi Qing crossed his hands behind his back and strolled over to where Di Nuo was being suspended midair. Chapter 2346, Swollen Face, 3, It was like there were invisible steps below his feet. Yi Qing seemed to ascend, stepping on empty air until she gradually came face to face with Di Nuo. Yi Qing, what kind of trickery are you using? Di Nuo was panicking. His body was not obeying him at all. He wanted to move but somehow, he just couldn't. Yi Qing looked mildly at Di Nuo. Haven't you always wished to know why Lei Yan and the others are so loyal to me? The youth spoke casually. Di Nuo was taken aback. Yi Qing suddenly snapped her fingers. In the next second, a tremendously powerful force surged out from his body. The faint moonlight shone upon him as if he was being engulfed in a glowing layer. Di Nuo was instantly stunned by that elite aura. He widened his eyes in disbelief, they were nearly popping out of their sockets. What kind of terrifying power was this? He could hardly breathe. Divine Lord. 5th heaven level. Di Nuo's heart nearly leaped out of his eyes. Even in his dreams, he would never suspect that this useless Paragon's 6th heaven level piece of trash was actually a Divine Lord 5th heaven level practitioner. Divine Lord 5th heaven level, faced with this kind of cultivation level, Di Nuo was like a piece of garbage. Completely defenseless. And he was not the only one. Everyone at present was dazed when Yi Qing displayed his powers. Completely, utterly dazed, Divine Lord. 5th heaven level. One of the students said in a trembling voice. He was trembling partially from the shock of the discovery, but mostly because of the aura unleashed by Yi Qing. It was beyond terrifying. Who told me Teacher Yi is just a Paragon 6th heaven level? Let me beat him up. No wonder, he could bring Qin Feng and the others to the Divine Lord stage within such a short period of time. So, he is actually so powerful. No one expected Yi Qing to be hiding such a big secret. To think that he was a Divine Lord 5th heaven level. Why didn't he just say so earlier? Hang Wenwei was utterly dumbstruck. He pinched Gong Jinyun on the thigh. He pinched so hard that Gong Jinyun cried out in pain. What are you doing? Hang Wenwei asked, does it hurt? Of course. Hang Wenwei sighed. So this is not a dream. Gong Jinyun, was it a serious crime to kill one's schoolmate? Yun Chen was also somewhat bewildered. Meanwhile, Lei Yan had snapped out of his trance and punched Yun Chen on the shoulder. Damn, and I wondered why you dared to let boss go on that platform. So you already knew. Brother, how can you keep such a secret from us? We were nearly dying from anxiety. If I knew boss was so formidable, I would have urged him to go beat up Di Nua and not wasted any time. Lei Yan wiped cold sweat off his brow. He had nearly died from fright. Yun Chen, he hadn't known. He really hadn't known. He had previously suspected Yu Qing was some secret powerful practitioner, but even he had never expected for him to be a divine lord 5th heaven level. He had theorized that Yu Qing was probably some highly skilled alchemist and knew some good martial arts moves. And so he believed that he might be able to hold his own against Di Nua. But he had really underestimated his boss. Suspended in midair, Di Nua was shivering in fright. So much so that he felt his body was about to shatter. With widened eyes, he looked at Yu Qing as if she was a monster. Chapter 2347, Next, 1. At this moment, Di Nua felt like he was just one big joke. He had always believed that Yu Qing was the disgrace of the Netherworld Academy. Now, all his past actions had come back to slap him in the face. A Divine Lord 5th Heaven level practitioner was useless? Then what was he? Humiliation engulfed his heart as he stared anxiously at Yu Qing. His eyes no longer held his usual imperious arrogance. In front of Yu Qing Tang, Di Nua was completely defenseless. The suppression of Yu Qing's high cultivation level turned him into a lamb ready for slaughter. But Yu Qing Tang was not interested in wasting any more time with Di Nua. She lifted her hand and gave a gentle flick of her fingers. In the next second, Di Nua dropped down from midair. His body crashed down onto the platform, creating a massive crater. Silence descended the entire arena. Everyone was stunned by this one-sided match. Below the stage, those teachers who were watching the match were also dazed. Zhu Ning had widened his eyes in shock. Due to yesterday's incident and Di Nua's declaration, all the teachers at present knew that Yu Qing was only a Paragon 6th heaven level. They thought that Yu Qing was just putting up a useless final struggle when he challenged Di Nua. But now, Yu Qing had not even executed any technique. Just a flick of his finger had Di Nua completely suppressed. The difference in power was terrifying. Divine Lord 5th heaven level, what's wrong with Di Nua? Why did he claim that Yu Qing was only at the Paragon 6th heaven level? One of the teachers asked in a daze. No wonder Yu Qing did not appear fearful of Di Nua at all, and even dared to challenge him head-on. No wonder. Di Nua probably never expected to face such a powerful practitioner. Apart from being shocked, many teachers also sighed at Di Nua's mistake. Yu Qing's powers far surpassed Di Nua's. If he wanted to conceal his cultivation level, there was no way Di Nua would know. This kind of person is a disgrace to the Netherworld Academy. The president would be elated if he knew this. Quite a number of teachers were quietly shaking their heads. How was Yu Qing a useless piece of trash? It was apparent that he was a powerful practitioner who preferred to keep a low profile. The other teachers instinctively turned to look at Zhu Ning. Zhu Ning had a rather strange expression. No one could decipher how he must be feeling now. So it was false that Yu Qing was only a Paragon 6th heaven level. It turned out he was a true blue Divine Lord 5th heaven level. And he was still so young. With his current abilities, it was not that unbelievable that he could produce a few Divine Lord level students. So, what about alchemy? No one had forgotten that Yu Qing had also challenged Zhu Ning. Di Nua had already been carried out of the crater. He was now unconscious and covered in blood and looked like a corpse. Did that mean Zhu Ning would have to face Yu Qing now? Yu Qing, he is a martial arts genius. But he can't possibly also be better than Zhu Ning at alchemy, right? One of the teachers mused. Everyone also believed that was the case, but, after witnessing Yu Qing's power display, they could not help feeling rather faint. Yu Qing strolled off the platform. The surrounding students were already dumbstruck and countless eyes were now focused on Yu Qing. Chapter 2348, Next, 2, Boss. You're so formidable. Lei Yan was the first to recover from the shock. Leaping ecstatically into the air, he nearly jumped onto the platform to raise his boss onto his shoulders. What was the definition of awesome? Their boss was the definition of awesome. Di Nuo was only at what cultivation level, and he was already strutting around all day, thinking so highly of himself. Look at their boss. So low profile and humble. This was how a truly powerful practitioner should behave. By this stage, Qin Feng and the others had also recovered from their shock. They gazed at Yi Qing with sparkling eyes. An undisguised look of admiration and worship filled the eyes of Nangong Lai and the others. I am feeling rather faint now. I say, brother. This is truly a massive stroke of luck for us. Hang Wenwei still looked a little shaken. He placed one hand on Gong Jinyan's shoulder. This was just too exciting. He never expected that he had actually stumbled upon a Divine Lord 5th heaven level teacher. Damn, he would have to give offerings at the temple tomorrow to show his gratitude. Gong Jinyun and Qiu Nan were still in shock. But Hang Wenwei's words echoed their own thoughts. This was really a major stroke of luck for them. Compared to the joy of those brats, the other medicine faculty students looked rather conflicted. They had been very stunned but managed to recompose themselves. Only to realize that Yi Qing's students had been even more astonished. Still pretending. How could they possibly not know the standard of their own teacher? Yi Qing Tang didn't waste any time. She shot Lei Yan and the others a look to calm down, before turning to Zhu Ning. Next. Yi Qing did not ask to rest before continuing the next challenge. The crowd was electrified. Nevertheless, there was quite a number who felt that as powerful as Yi Qing was. Could he really also be that good at alchemy? But wasn't he only a few years older than them? I don't believe that Yi Qing's alchemy skills can surpass Teacher Zhu's. If he can win, I will eat this whole platform. One of the medicine faculty students was very sure. The match between Di Nuo and Yi Qing had been between two martial arts teachers. The medicine faculty students only watched it for entertainment purposes. But Zhu Ning was the backbone of their medicine faculty. They didn't believe Yi Qing would defeat Zhu Ning. Meanwhile, Lei Yan and the others were much calmer. They stared at the medicine faculty student who claimed that he would eat the whole platform, with a, "You are just asking for it, look." Elixir refining skills. Their boss feared no one in this aspect. As everyone watched, Zhu Ning walked over. He looked at Yi Qing with a complicated expression. How do you wish to compete? Zhu Ning asked. He acknowledged that Yi Qing was indeed powerful, but now, they were competing in elixir refinement which had nothing to do with cultivation level. Even if he was facing an emperor-level practitioner, Zhu Ning would not lose in the field of alchemy. Yi Qing simply replied, "You can choose." Damn! So pompous. Yi Qing's words incited the medicine faculty students. Arrogant. Too arrogant. Zhu Ning didn't expect Yi Qing to be so audacious and he gave a slight frown before continuing. In that case, shall we compete on the green asteroid elixir? All the medicine faculty students gasped. Lei Yan and the others had not heard of this elixir before. Unabashed, they asked, "Yun Chen, what is this green asteroid elixir? Is it very formidable?" Yun Chen replied, "It's a master-level elixir." Lei Yan, "Well, excuse me. This was an elixir which he could never afford." Chapter 2349, Next, 3, This kind of master-level elixir was very rare. In the first place, there were few master-level alchemists in the entire second domain. On top of that, they were all under the various factions and their elixirs never entered the public market. Since Zhu Ning had chosen a master-level elixir, it was clear he was serious. I say. Isn't Teacher Zhu a bit too merciless? He wants to compete on a master-level elixir. Gong Jinyun frowned slightly. He felt that this was not fair to Yi Qing. Meanwhile, the medicine faculty students retorted. This competition is about refining elixirs, right? What? You want our Teacher Zhu to go easy? Compete on an elementary level elixir. What a joke. Don't make bold claims if you don't have the ability to back it up. Don't think that just because your cultivation level is high that you can refine elixirs. Those are two entirely separate matters. Just as the crowd continued their discussion, Yi Qingtang agreed to the terms. All the ingredients were delivered by the other medicine faculty teachers, and each person received a set. There was only one chance to refine. The first sign of failure would mean defeat. Those in the medicine faculty could not hide their anticipation. It was not often they got to see Zhu Ning refine elixirs. They couldn't even be bothered to look at Yi Qing. Instead, they all focused on Zhu Ning. Zhu Ning's knowledge of herbs far surpassed that of Song Yanhan. His preparation of the ingredients was so precise that all the students sighed in admiration at the sight. It was a pleasure to watch. Lei Yan didn't know anything about elixir refinement, so he had to ask Yun Chen. Tell me, who is more highly skilled? Our boss or Zhu Ning? Yun Chen replied without any hesitation. Our boss, of course. That's right. Lei Yan chuckled. He loved hearing others praise his boss. Their conversation attracted the attention of several other medicine faculty students. They stared at those two like they were looking at two fools. Yi Qing was better than Zhu Ning. Dream on. At this moment, even the other medicine faculty teachers were all carefully observing Zhu Ning's elixir refinement process. They could not detect any flaw in his movements. Everything was perfect. Even the teachers were benefiting a lot from watching. Every time I watch Teacher Zhu refine elixirs, I get a sense of desolation. I wonder when I will ever reach his standard, one of the teachers lamented. I am afraid that both you and I will never reach his standard in this lifetime. Look! Just as the teachers were admiring Zhu Ning, they suddenly saw a flame light up in Yi Qing's hand. It was the same as Yun Chen's earlier display. But Yi Qing's flame was black. What? The teachers were all shocked. They never expected Yi Qing to know the palm flame technique as well. Could it be that he was really the one who taught Yun Chen the technique? Yi Qing was focused on the herbs in her hands and looked like he was completely immersed in her own world. Zhu Ning, who had just placed his ingredients into his tripod, also noticed what Yi Qing was doing. He was stunned by the sight. As that black flame refined those herbs, a medicinal aroma wafted over in waves. Shock flashed across Zhu Ning's eyes. He knew that he should be focusing on his own elixir refinement, but after watching Yi Qing's process, he appeared unable to carry on. Chapter 2350, Intoxicated, 1, Layman watched for entertainment, while the experts watched for the skill. With Zhu Ning's skill level, it was natural for him to better understand what he was seeing. And because of that, Zhu Ning's heart gave a heavy jolt when he saw Yi Qing place his prepped ingredients into the flame in his palm. Those ingredients had been prepped as well as his, perhaps with even more precision. Zhu Ning's face instantly paled. He had not believed that Yi Qing knew how to refine elixirs too. But now that he was seeing the process with his own eyes, he finally realized how laughable his earlier thinking had been. Just by the youth's movements, Zhu Ning could confirm that Yi Qing knew very well how to refine the green asteroid elixir. In fact, he might be even more familiar with it than him. The green asteroid elixir was a master-level elixir. Without a certain level of skill, one would not be able to refine it even if one knew the recipe. But Zhu Ning watched as Yi Qing placed the final ingredient into his palm. He suddenly closed his eyes and took a deep breath. In the next second, Zhu Ning extinguished the fire on his own tripod. The crowd was stunned when they saw Zhu Ning extinguish the fire in his tripod. What's the matter with Teacher Zhu? Why is he stopping? What is going on? Everyone was dumbfounded. Things had been going on very well. Why did Zhu Ning suddenly stop? Teacher Zhu. What's the matter? The other medicine faculty teachers were also confused. They thought something must have happened to Zhu Ning, and they all went up to him. Zhu Ning waved them off but didn't say anything and only continued to watch Yi Qing, who was focused on refining his elixir. The arrogance in his eyes had faded away as he concentrated on watching him. How long had it been since he was like this, completely engrossed in watching the process of someone else refine elixirs? He could no longer remember. At this moment, he appeared absorbed, not at all like the master-level alchemist he was. He was more like a medicine faculty student, watching Yi Qing's movements intently as if he was very worried about missing any single detail. Even when those teachers tried to continue their queries, Zhu Ning interrupted them to stop them from bothering him. The medicine faculty students were dazed. They did not understand why Zhu Ning was behaving in this manner. Previously, they did not pay much attention to what Yi Qing was doing. But now that Zhu Ning was watching so closely, they instinctively turned to look. And with that one look, they were completely shocked. The situation on the platform had become very strange. Zhu Ning had extinguished his tripod fire and was watching Yi Qing intently. And the eyes of those medicine faculty teachers were now glowing as they also watched Yi Qing. All the other students were befuddled. What was going on? Wasn't there a competition going on? Why had all the teachers gone into a trance? Damn, they are secretly spying on our boss technique. Lei Yan muttered. He could not understand what boss was doing. But observing the faces of those old men, it was clear they were secretly studying his boss techniques. Lei Yan wanted to object but Yun Chen put his hand over his mouth. Don't say a word. Yun Chen's eyes never left Yi Qing. Now, he did not wish to hear any noise either. All he wanted was to memorize every single one of Yi Qing's movements. Lei Yan, if Yun Chen didn't let go, he would soon suffocate to death. A strange atmosphere descended over the medicine faculty arena. By the time Ran Mo hurried over with Wu Fengling, they were greeted by this strange sight. Chapter 2351, Intoxicated, 2, Ran Mo had been very anxious. He was worried about Yi Qing and had hurried over to find Wu Fengling as a reinforcement. But when he returned, the bloodbath he had been expecting had not occurred. What they saw was Yi Qing standing on the platform refining an elixir. Meanwhile, Zhu Ning and the other medicine faculty teachers were watching him with intoxicated expressions. Ran Mo, wasn't there supposed to be a challenge going on? Could he have been hallucinating? Is this what you mean by life-threatening? Wu Fengling raised an eyebrow at his disciple. Ran Mo, he was worried Wu Fengling wouldn't come with him, so he claimed that Yi Qing's life would be in danger if he didn't come. But now, who could tell him what was happening? Wu Fengling glanced at the despondent expression of his disciple before walking over to the platform. The students respectfully gave way when they saw Wu Fengling approaching. Meanwhile, the teachers on the platform appeared oblivious to Wu Fengling's arrival. Their eyes never left Yi Qing. Elder Zhu, you guys are, Wu Fengling tried to ask what was happening. But before he could complete his sentence, Zhu Ning shot him a cold, angry look. Wu Fengling, alright, he would have to ask later. Wu Fengling had come to prevent some major catastrophe, but he ended up watching Yi Qing refine elixirs together with a bunch of teachers. He was amused but also rather mystified. It seemed that Yi Qing also knew how to refine elixirs. Furthermore, Wu Fengling was rather amazed at the sight of Zhu Ning's focused expression. Zhu Ning had told him before that apart from his Grand Master disciple, he could not bear to watch anyone else refine elixirs. But now, Zhu Ning was watching very intently. When Wu Fengling tried to speak, it was like he had committed a heinous crime. If anything, Wu Fengling felt that the situation was rather incredulous. Time passed by the second that stretched into lengthy minutes. By the time Yi Qingtang finally extinguished the flame in her palm, a pale green elixir was left behind in her hand. At the same time, countless sighs could be heard. Yi Qingtang instinctively turned to see. Zhu Ning and the rest of the medicine faculty teachers had somehow come over to her side. Those folks looked as if they were hankering for more. Yi Qingtang was stunned. Teacher Zhu? Yi Qingtang asked. Weren't they competing? Why did her opponents suddenly come over to her side? Zhu Ning shook his head with a sigh. He closed his eyes, as if re-immersing himself in what he just witnessed. That lingering feeling. It was not enough. How many years had it been since? He was finally experiencing that feeling again. It was like when he just started learning alchemy and was watching famous alchemists refining elixirs. I have lost. Zhu Ning opened his eyes, but there were no signs of anger. He looked at Yi Qing with a humbled expression. In front of everyone, he suddenly gave Yi Qing a deep bow. I have been obsessed with alchemy for many years, so much so that I appear to have lost the stability of my mind. I seem to have forgotten that there would always be someone better in this world. Everyone was dumbstruck by Zhu Ning's bow. The medicine faculty students were in a complete daze. Zhu Ning lost? Lost without even putting up a fight? Impossible. Yi Qingtang saw that Zhu Ning had already extinguished the fire in his tripod. Teacher Zhu, you didn't finish refining your elixir. Zhu Ning replied in an embarrassed tone, that's right. When I saw the way you refined, I knew that I had already lost. There's no point in me continuing the process. Chapter 2352, Intoxicated, 3. At this stage, Zhu Ning was full of shame and regret. All these years he had been obsessed with alchemy and researched it all his life, giving it his everything. That was why he detested people who didn't take elixir refinement seriously. Previously, Yi Qing's bold claims made Zhu Ning believe that he was just an ignorant layman, and this unfounded dislike of the youth only continued to rise. But now, Zhu Ning realized that Yi Qing's elixir refinement standard far surpassed his own. How could he have been so blind and foolish? He had completely humiliated himself because of his narrow-mindedness. Zhu Ning hated those who didn't take elixir refinement seriously but was extremely respectful toward those with exceptional skill. So now, his tone toward Yi Qing had subconsciously become more respectful. I have lost. But it is my honor to have witnessed Teacher Yi's exquisite elixir refinement skills. Teacher Yi, don't worry, I will adhere to the terms of our bet. From now on, I will seal off my tripod and never refine elixirs again. Zhu Ning stated. A huge commotion erupted at Zhu Ning's words. Song Yanhan's face paled. He never imagined that his master would lose. And to Yi Qing as well. If Zhu Ning sealed off his tripod, what would happen to him? Master! Please reconsider. Song Yanhan hurriedly cried out. Zhu Ning waved him off. I have committed wrong after wrong. But today, I managed to witness a true expert at work, it is already a blessing for me. He had doubted Yi Qing and wanted to know who taught Yunqin the palm flame. Now, Zhu Ning knew that it was indeed Yi Qing who imparted that skill to Yunqin, and his initial doubts made him feel extremely ashamed. Yi Qingtang looked at Zhu Ning. She felt that he was too old-fashioned. Nevertheless, she also felt that this elder did have some backbone. It is truly admirable that Teacher Zhu is keeping his word, Yi Qingtang said. But Teacher Zhu's teaching stint at the Netherworld Academy is an agreement between him and President Wu Fengling. Since the agreement between Teacher Zhu and the President has yet to end, we must uphold that agreement first, Yi Qingtang continued. Zhu Ning was taken aback by Yi Qing's words. Recalling how he had been so overbearing toward her and how gracious the latter was being now, he felt even more ashamed. Teacher Yi, I was in the wrong, so of course, Zhu Ning couldn't bear to give up elixir refinement, but he was unwilling to go back on his word. Before Zhu Ning could complete his sentence, Wu Fengling walked up the platform. Elder Zhu, Teacher Yi is right. You lost to me that year and said that as long as I am in the Netherworld Academy, you will be a teacher at the medicine faculty. What? Are you trying to go back on your word now? Wu Fengling smiled. Zhu Ning felt a headache coming on. President. Yi Qingtang saw Wu Fengling and Ran Mo standing behind him and she immediately knew why he had come. Wu Fengling nodded. Yi Qing, I didn't expect you to be skillful in elixir refinement as well, you are truly full of surprises. But, you have really raised a ruckus today. I heard that you challenged Zhu Ning and Dinoa. Yi Qing nodded. Wu Fengling gave a small smile. He had already heard about the entire affair from Ran Mo. I will handle this matter. Since this match is done, let's forget about your challenge to Dinua. Yi Qing gave a strange look at Wu Fengling's words. I am afraid that's not possible. Wu Fengling was startled. This punk. Didn't he realize he was trying to help him? He would be in trouble if he really had to fight Dinua. Why? Wu Fengling asked sternly. Now Yi Qing looked exasperated. Because, the match between Dinua and I has already ended. Chapter 2353, Competition ended, your match with Dinua is over? But, Wu Fengling was astonished. He looked at the completely unharmed Yi Qing. Could Dinua have had a change of heart? He had gone easy on him. Ran Mo blinked in confusion. Meanwhile, Hang Wenwei, Gong Jinyun, and Qiu Nan dragged him off to the side. What happened? The match between Teacher Yi and Teacher Dinua is over. Ran Mo was befuddled and he stared at the other three in confusion. Ran Mo suddenly realized that the trio was beaming, as if they had just discovered a great treasure. Little Mo, you didn't see it just now. A real pity. The match between Teacher Yi and Teacher Dinua was mind-blowing. Hang Wenwei draped his arm around Ran Mo's shoulder, smiling like a cheeky rogue. Little Mo. Ran Mo was speechless but he remained on track. Has the match between Teacher Yi and Teacher Dinua really ended? Where is Teacher Dinua then? Hang Wenwei indicated the exit with his chin. He was carried out. Ran Mo, Dinua was carried out. Did he hear correctly? Hang Wenwei watched Ran Mo's eyes grow wide. He grinned. Guess what the true cultivation level of our Teacher Yi is? Ran Mo asked. Teacher Yi has been concealing his true powers. Hang Wenwei nodded. Ran Mo looked at the completely unharmed Yi Qing and then at Hang Wenwei and the other two, who were all grinning widely. He then linked it with the fact that Dinua was carried away. He made a bold guess. Could he be at the Divine Lord Third Heaven stage? Dinua was a Divine Lord Second Heaven stage practitioner. If Teacher Yi could defeat Dinua, his level must definitely be higher. Hang Wenwei shook his head. Little Mo, you are still too young. Our Teacher Yi is a true blue Divine Lord Fifth Heaven level. Ran Mo. Hang Wenwei was speaking softly but Wu Fengling was able to hear him. When Wu Fengling heard the words, Divine Lord Fifth Heaven level, he was shocked and immediately turned to look at Yi Qing in amazement. Yi Qing, you are a Divine Lord Fifth Heaven stage practitioner? Yi Qing nodded. Wu Fengling took a deep breath as he looked at Yi Qing with a complicated light in his eyes. Wu Fengling had already been overjoyed that Yi Qing had won Zhu Ning in elixir refinement. He didn't expect there would be another major surprise waiting for him. A Divine Lord Fifth Heaven level and with alchemy skills above that of a master-level alchemist. This was really a precious treasure that Wen Qi had brought him. The situation had far exceeded Wu Fengling's expectations. It was like every time he saw Yi Qing, he would bring him some great surprise. Thinking of how the Netherworld Academy had been like the past few years, Wu Fengling gazed at Yi Qing in excitement. Perhaps he had been sent by the heavens to help the Netherworld Academy. Yi Qing, you are full of endless surprises. Wu Fengling gave a happy chuckle. Yi Qing's situation was now different from what he initially understood. He would have to make some adjustments to his plans now. Given Yi Qing's prowess in martial arts and alchemy was out of this world. His reputation would spread like wildfire across the Netherworld Academy. Zhu Ning had been very insistent about sealing off his tripod, but after being persuaded by both Yi Qing and Wu Fengling, he decided to keep to the agreement between him and Wu Fengling first. The day that Wu Fengling left, he would keep his promise to Yi Qing. Today, all 6 of Yi Qing's students qualified for the Inter-Academy competition. Lei Yan said, who said that he would eat the whole platform. Hurry up, don't waste time. The guy who made that claim had already shrunk into a corner, desperately wishing that he could disappear. Chapter 2354, Stealing Their Teacher, 1, Wu Fengling spoke with Yi Qing for a while longer before having the crowd disperse. There was still some time before the Inter-Academy competition, so Wu Fengling hoped that Yi Qing could help Hang Wenwei and the rest improve for the competition. After today, every time Hang Wenwei and his group gazed at Yi Qing, it was with eyes filled with adoration and worship. They were eager to see how Yi Qing would teach them. But it was clear that someone else was even more eager than Hang Wenwei and his group. The next morning, Lei Yan, Hang Wenwei, and the others arrived at the agreed location very early to wait for Yi Qing to arrive. Just as Yi Qing stepped into the room, and before Hang Wenwei and the others could exhibit their bootlicking skills, a figure dashed over. Teacher Yi. Zhu Ning stood outside the door, looking humbly at Yi Qing. Teacher Zhu. Yi Qing Tang was surprised by Zhu Ning's appearance. I obtained a recipe some time ago and studied it for a long time, but still cannot figure it out. There are a few ingredients listed which I feel have to be reconsidered, so I hope to invite Teacher Yi to analyze it with me. Zhu Ning looked at Yi Qing without the slightest hint of arrogance. He was truly sincere about asking for Yi Qing's guidance. Yi Qing Tang was dumbstruck. Hang Wenwei and the others were likewise stupefied. They never expected Zhu Ning to appear like this. Their faces started to twitch. Was Teacher Zhu kidding them? Teacher Yi didn't belong to the medicine faculty. How dare he so boldly try to steal their teacher away like this? Was it really appropriate? After personally witnessing Yi Qing's elixir refinement skills, Zhu Ning was utterly convinced of his abilities. Also, he heard another teacher say last night that Yun Chen's elixir refinement standard had greatly improved since several months ago. And it was all thanks to Yi Qing. That teacher was the same one who had previously tried to convince Yi Qing to join the medicine faculty as a warden, but he had rejected him. The teacher didn't take the rejection to heart. In addition, he had been away from the academy the past few months and so didn't get the chance to tell anyone of this matter. That was why things had escalated in this manner. In the end, that teacher returned and found out that Yi Qing's elixir refinement level was even more formidable. He was stunned. This further solidified Zhu Ning's respect for Yi Qing. As a result, he had come here first thing in the morning with his elixir recipe, to seek out Yi Qing. Teacher Zhu, I have some things to do. Yi Qing Tang was in a dilemma. If it was some other person, she could have just kicked him out. But Zhu Ning, as stubborn as he was, his adoration for alchemy was sincere. And his tone had been so humble. There was a saying that one could not bear to slap a smiling face. Yi Qing Tang felt rather embarrassed rejecting him. Zhu Ning said, Teacher Yi, don't worry. I just need half a day of your time. Moreover, the pursuit of martial arts is endless and there's not much time left for the Inter-Academy competition. On the other hand, Teacher Yi's alchemy skills are rare and valuable. I wonder if Teacher Yi is interested in joining the medicine faculty. In a matter of seconds, Zhu Ning made his offer. Lei Yan and the others had been listening patiently, but they suddenly realized what Zhu Ning was asking. What the hell? Zhu Ning wanted to steal their boss over to the medicine faculty. What was going on in this world? First, it was Hang Wenwei and those punks, and now even Zhu Ning wanted a share. Chapter 2355, Stealing Their Teacher, 2, the thought made Lei Yan and others feel extremely aggrieved. More than ever, they pined for the days when Yi Qing was a nobody. At least then, their boss would only belong to them. Unlike now. Now there were love rivals popping up everything, trying to steal their boss. Yi Qing Tang didn't know whether to laugh or to cry at Zhu Ning's offer. Although she rejected him, he was resolute. It was clear that this person's aspirations in elixir refinement was indomitable. Exasperated, Yi Qing Tang had no choice but to agree and spend half a day with Zhu Ning first. She could deal with the rest later. Before Yi Qing Tang left, she had Jing Zhe and the others take charge of Hang Wenwei and his group for the time being, to instruct them on the foundational methods she had taught them in the past. They could start training using those methods first. Hang Wenwei, Qiu Nan and Gong Jinyun, Lei Yan and the others were shaking with mirth. Only Ran Mo alone was full of spirit. After Yi Qing left, he scurried over to Qin Feng's side. Qin Feng, teach me a couple of moves. Ran Mo smiled, revealing his eye teeth. Qin Feng, no, he didn't want to. Like that, Yi Qing had been kidnapped by Zhu Ning to the medicine faculty to research on some elixirs. It had been agreed that it would take just half a day, but when it came to elixirs, Zhu Ning was like an obsessed maniac. By mid-afternoon, he still refused to let Yi Qing leave. Song Yanhan looked on as his own master humbly discussed elixir refinement with Yi Qing. The expression on his face was amusing. Noticing the approach of Yun Chen and the others, Song Yanhan's face darkened even further. What else could he do? His own master was not as good as their teacher. In the end, he could only slink away in embarrassment. When night fell, Yun Chen and the others finally managed to snatch Yi Qing back from Zhu Ning's clutches after putting up a major fuss. Yi Qing took this opportunity to analyze the situation of Hang Wenwei and his team. They all had very solid foundations and pretty good innate talents. It was no coincidence at all that they managed to reach their current cultivation stage. According to their individual situations, Yi Qing adjusted the techniques and offered them a set of tailor-made methods to have them practice over this period of time. Hang Wenwei and the others practiced diligently as if they had just received a precious gift. But Zhu Ning would come over every 2 or 3 days to try and steal their teacher again. It was a real headache. Due to Zhu Ning's actions, Hang Wenwei, Lei Yan, and the whole group bonded together for the first time. To defend against external enemies, one must first have domestic harmony. Unite together to defend against Zhu Ning. But no matter how hard they tried, they failed to stop Zhu Ning's attempts. Exasperated, they sought out Ran Mo. Little Mo, go and find your master. Tell him that if this goes on, Teacher Yi will not have time to teach us. Hang Wenwei was feeling very aggrieved. He never expected that he would one day end up fighting over a teacher with a medicine faculty teacher. Ran Mo said, my master has always respected Teacher Zhu and this. Lei Yan patted Ran Mo on the shoulder. Let me teach you. Go and see your master and throw yourself at his feet. Sob as hard as you can, until tears and snot cover your face. If he refuses to help, just cry yourself to death by his feet. Ran Mo stared at Lei Yan with his dark, round eyes, as if he had just seen a ghost. Don't worry, this method is very effective. I use it very often. Lei Yan patted his chest with gusto. Everyone immediately turned to stare at Lei Yan. The looks on their faces. Incredulous. What are you looking at? I do this every time my father tries to force me to train. Lei Yan remained nonchalant. The corners of the lips of Nangong Lai and the rest twitched. No wonder this kid's earlier cultivation level was so lousy. Could he be any more shameless? Chapter 2356, Stealing Their Teacher, 3, Lei Yan's method was indeed rather shameless. The others were secretly scornful but outwardly, little Mo, I think this method might work. You should go ahead and try it. Hang Wenwei looked very righteous. Oh yes, crying alone is not enough. You need to howl until your master's heart softens. Those brats behaved like armchair experts, throwing the deplorable task onto Ran Mo's lap. Like this, the pitiful Ran Mo was forced into his mission. The number 1 student in the Netherworld Academy threw himself at his master's feet and cried the entire night. Wu Fengling nearly went deaf from the noise. He finally agreed to go speak to Zhu Ning. The personal intervention of Wu Fengling seemed to work. Zhu Ning stopped his antics and Yi Qing could finally teach her brats in peace. Having been delayed for several days, Ran Mo and his group gradually started to absorb Yi Qing's teachings. Meanwhile, Lei Yan and his gang recalled something very crucial. I say, boss, didn't you make that bet with Di Noa earlier? If you win, isn't Di Noa supposed to crawl out of the Netherworld Academy? Lei Yan always got angry all over again when he recalled how overbearing Di Noa was. Now, their boss had proved herself in every way. It was time for Di Noa to carry out the terms of the bet. That's right. Boss, Make Di Nua carry out the terms of the bet. Nan Gong Lai piped up. If not for Di Nua, so many unpleasant things would not have happened. Di Nua thought that he would definitely win and had been so eager to publicly announce the bet between him and Yi Qing. But since that day after Yi Qing thrashed him and he had to be carried away, there had been no news of Di Nua. I think that Di Nua is still bedridden. Lei Yan rubbed his chin. Are you all very bored? Yi Qing shot them a mild look. Lei Yan and the others shuddered under Yi Qing's gaze as he lifted his chin and said, yesterday's technique. Practice it another 10 times. The faces of Lei Yan and the others darkened as they stared at Yi Qing pitifully. They were just speaking up for boss, why was he so heartless? As much as they grumbled, they had no choice but to carry out all extra 10 rounds of practice. As for the bet between her and Di Nua, Yi Qing Tang had not taken it to heart at all. For someone as proud as Di Nua, being publicly defeated by Yi Qing Tang was enough to shatter all his dignity. Yi Qing Tang had no time to bother about him anymore as she could now go for the Inter-Academy competition. So she had already decided to spend as much time as she could with her brats until the end of the competition, after which she would leave this mainland and head off to the Dragon Emperor clan to find her mother. Instead of wasting her time on inconsequential people, she would rather concentrate on teaching her brats. Yi Qing Tang did not take the matter with Di Nua to heart at all. But it was true that Di Nua remained out of sight during this period. Meanwhile, Yi Qing's reputation in the Netherworld Academy was flourishing. Nearly all the students knew of this formidable teacher who knew both martial arts and alchemy. However, Yi Qing was only teaching Lei Yan, Ran Mo, and the selected few. This was also Wu Fengling's intention. After all, the Inter-Academy competition depended on those top students. Chapter 2357, Get Lost, 1. During this period, the powers of Ran Mo and his group did improve. But with their already high cultivation stage, it was nearly impossible for them to have a sudden breakthrough over such a short period of time. Even so, they could clearly feel their battle prowess surge by leaps and bounds under Yi Qing's guidance. Hang Wenwei was the only one who had yet to ascend to the Divine Lord stage, and he could already feel signs of a breakthrough. This made him so happy that he could barely sleep for several nights. During the day, he trained exceptionally hard, hoping to reach the Divine Lord stage before the Inter-Academy competition. Perhaps it was because they were motivated by Hang Wenwei, so Lei Yan and the others also increased their efforts. The moment daylight broke, the teenagers would charge toward the training arena like a pack of wild dogs who had just been uncaged. Many other students were astonished by their crazed diligence. One day, as they were practicing, a group of other students suddenly walked past them. At first, Lei Yan and the rest didn't pay much attention. But the words, Yi Qing, drifted into their ears and they instantly paused. Senior Sister Meng, is what you are saying true? Is Yi Qing really that vicious? Meng Yao crossed her arms over her chest and shot Lei Yan and his gang a cold glance. A smirk was on her lips as she admonished, of course it's true. To this day, my master has yet to recover. It's obvious how vicious Yi Qing was. After being taught a lesson by Mu Ziying, Meng Yao had spent more than 2 weeks bedridden before finally recovering. But her attitude toward Mu Ziying and her group did not change at all, it was still full of enmity. Meng Yao, what did you just say? Nan Gong Lai's face darkened as he glared at her. Meng Yao looked provocatively at Nan Gong Lai. What did I say? I was just speaking the truth. What? Are you going to attack me now? I think that you're just itching for a beating. Nan Gong Lai narrowed his eyes. He did not care that Meng Yao was a female. Even a deity could not insult their boss. It is indeed true that students take after their teachers. Your teacher is so cunning. It's only natural that you kids don't adhere to the school rules. Meng Yao smirked. Nan Gong Lai's face grew even grimmer. He wanted to step forward but was held back by Qin Feng. Qin Feng gave Meng Yao a chilly look. If you dare insult our boss again, I will ensure that you can never speak again in this lifetime. Qin Feng was tall and strapping, his features cold and foreboding. At his malevolent tone and harsh eyes, Meng Yao couldn't help taking a step back. Qin Feng, I know you are formidable. But as powerful as you are, do you think you can shut everyone up if they don't agree with you? Meng Yao put on a false show of bravado. Yi Qing is so great. He concealed his true powers and came to the Netherworld Academy. He could have revealed his powers from the start, but he purposely chose to hide them. I know that he has been at odds with my master right from the start. He purposely incited my master to make that bet with him. Thereafter, he cunningly challenged my master in public and then executed a lethal move during their fight. He was completely merciless to someone who is also a teacher of the Netherworld Academy. Everything that has happened, Yi Qing planned it all. Meng Yao glared at Qin Feng and his group with eyes filled with venom and hatred. Whenever she thought of how her family clan had invested so much to let her powers increase before the Inter-Academy competition, it infuriated her. If it wasn't for Yi Qing, she would finally have the chance to make a name for herself there. Chapter 2358, Get Lost, 2, but she had been greatly weakened by her match with Mu Ziying. Although she could walk now, it would still be some time before she would fully recover. In her current state, there was no way she could compete in the Inter-Academy competition. So of course she hated them. Di Nua was her teacher. If he was well, he might be able to help her recuperate faster. But he had been injured by Yi Qing and couldn't even help himself. Meng Yao's last hope was extinguished just like that. At this point, Meng Yao was just aching to tear Yi Qing apart. Meng Yao's voice attracted several people. The training arena was crowded in the first place, and several bystanders gathered around them. Most of them had heard of the bet between Di Nua and Yi Qing, but no one knew the reason behind that bet. Thereafter, there was Di Nua's match against Yi Qing during the medicine faculty selection trials. This made those students even more confused over the reason behind everything. Now, Meng Yao had spoken out and pushed all the blame onto Yi Qing, making it sound like Yi Qing had schemed against Di Nua and purposely injured him badly, just because she was at odds with him. Meng Yao's words stunned Lei Yan and his group. They had met shameless people, but they had never met someone that shameless. Their boss was the instigator. If Di Nua had not been so overbearing, would their boss be so free as to challenge him? It was clearly Di Nua who had forced Yi Qing to a match to prove himself. Now Meng Yao dared to turn around and accuse the victim. Your words are truly hilarious. Our boss is big-hearted and benevolent. He doesn't even intend to pursue the matter. Have you and your master not had enough yet? Who was the one who tried to force our boss out of the Netherworld Academy? Who was the one who claimed that our boss had someone outside of the academy teach us? It's all your teacher's doing. What? Now that you have lost, you refuse to concede. If your teacher has the guts, he should crawl out of the Netherworld Academy in accordance with the bet. Lei Yan was so angry that he felt like laughing. He had never met someone so thick-skinned. Meng Yao replied, Scoundrel. You are just a student, how dare you be so rude to a teacher? What bet? It's all just talk. There's no proof. You were so rude to our boss too. What do you say to that? Lei Yan retorted. Shut up. A low voice rang out. The crowd turned toward the voice and saw a pale-faced Di Nua. Accompanied by several teenagers, he was walking into the training arena. Meng Yao was taken aback by the sight of Di Nua. Master, why have you come out? Di Nua looked extremely unwell and his aura was very weak. He was a teacher from the martial arts faculty and was a familiar sight to all the students in the training arena. Seeing how the usually robust and imperious Di Nua now looked so frail, many of the teenagers, who didn't know the truth, unwittingly started to believe in Meng Yao's words. To be fair, it was rather common for the teachers to have occasional sparring matches. But no one had ever witnessed a teacher dealing such a heavy blow to another. Those teenagers did not know Yi Qing well, only hearing rumors about him. Now, they started to feel that it was better to stay away from this vicious teacher. Meng Yao, the world has only ever respected winners. There's nothing we can do about that. You have yet to fully recover, no need to go around talking about this, Di Noa said impassively. Meng Yao twisted her lips. Chapter 2359, Get Lost, 3. Seeing that Di Noa wasn't really saying anything, Lei Yan and the others also remained silent. Di Noa looked at Lei Yan and his gang. Yi Qing wants me to fulfill the bet. Lei Yan gaped, suddenly at a loss for words. Yi Qing had completely disregarded the bet. And so, Lei Yan and the rest also didn't take it to heart. Just now, it was only because of Meng Yao's provocation that he had blurted those words out. It was par for course to expect a person to fulfill his promise. But to say this in front of everything, it would just make them appear overbearing. Lei Yan felt rather distressed. Di Noa was the one who wished to go back on his word, but now, he was making it look like they were bullying him. With arms crossed behind his back, Di Noa stared at Lei Yan and the others with a cold expression. Yi Qing was the one who initiated this bet. If he wants me to fulfill it, he must come and ask me himself. Lei Yan and the others looked very conflicted. They wanted to do so, but the surrounding crowd was already staring at them like they were ruthless tyrants. I say, enough is enough, right? This bet has always been just all talk and no proof. Moreover, Yi Qing had clearly concealed his true powers, before purposely dealing such a grievous blow to teacher Di Noa. Now he wants to rub salt into his wound. That's too much. He is so formidable now. High cultivation level and an expert at alchemy, let alone he is also in the president's good books. Of course he would disregard us commoners. Many students sounded rather envious. They also hoped to have a powerful teacher, but it was clear that Yi Qing didn't intend to teach students other than Lei Yan and his group. In a matter of moments, Lei Yan and the rest were confused by the malicious comments. But Di Noa was using his status as a teacher to suppress them. Even if they wished to argue, it would make them look unreasonable and heartless. No matter what they said, they would be at fault. Meng Yao was thrilled at the sight of the distressed expressions on Lei Yan and his group. Just as the crowd was discussing and blaming Lei Yan and his gang, a cold voice rang out. So I will tell you now, Teacher Di Noa. Are you going to carry it out? Lei Yan and the others immediately turned at the voice. As expected, it was Yi Qing. Boss. Lei Yan and his group lit up with joy and they burst toward Yi Qing. In contrast, when he saw Yi Qing, a frown appeared on Di Noa's face. Yi Qing Tang was just passing by the training arena and wanted to see if her brats were sneaking a break. Only to end up witnessing this scene. She had no interest in seeking out Di Noa to settle their score. But now, he was putting up an act. Yi Qing shot Lei Yan and the group a keep calm expression before turning toward Di Noa. Teacher Di Noa's word have always been his bond. So please crawl out of the Netherworld Academy in accordance with the terms of our bet. He wanted to bully her brats. He had to have the ability first. Di Noa's face darkened at Yi Qing's words. Whispers spread across the crowd. Wasn't Yi Qing being too overbearing? It was better to live and let live. Yi Qing, don't push things too far. Meng Yao stepped out angrily. Yi Qingtang's face turned cold as she glanced at Meng Yao. Yes, I want to push things that far today. What can you do? Yi Qing finally understood something. Originally she had wanted to be merciful to Di Noa so as to ensure a smooth future for Lei Yan and the rest in the Netherworld Academy after she left. But as long as Di Noa was around, he would find all sorts of ways to make things difficult for her students after she was no longer around. Chapter 2360, Get Lost, 4. Rather than letting him harm her little brats, it was better that she get rid of this danger as soon as possible. You have no proof. Who would know the real details of your bet that day? Meng Yao insisted. Oh. So they were going to play that game, were they? Completely ignoring Meng Yao, Yi Qingtang took out the contract from her space ring and showed it to everyone. Here is the proof. I believe that I am not the only one who has a copy of this. Teacher Di Noa has one too, correct? Di Nuo had been worried that Yi Qing would go back on his word and so purposely wrote out this contract in front of Wen Qi. He never imagined that he would be the one being tormented by this contract. Di Nuo looked extremely grim. He was in a tight spot now. If he didn't carry out the terms of the bet, his reputation would be dragged through the mud. If he complied, he would be utterly humiliated. Or does teacher Di Nuo need my help to carry out his end of the bargain? Yi Qing Tang narrowed her eyes. Di Nuo's face turned pale. Having personally experienced Yi Qing's power, he was well aware that if Yi Qing were to make a move, he would be utterly defenseless. Yi Qing. You are indeed vicious. Di Nuo took a deep breath. He flung his sleeves angrily and left without turning his head. He could not carry it out. How could he? He would become the laughingstock of everyone. Meng Yao saw Di Nuo leave and hurriedly followed after him. The crowd was of two minds at what just happened. Yi Qing Tang couldn't care less. She led Lei Yan and the rest away from the practice arena. That night, Di Nuo handed Wu Fengling his resignation and left the Netherworld Academy. Meng Yao, who had relied on Di Nuo all this while, never expected Di Nuo to leave just like that. After Di Nuo left, Wu Fengling called Yi Qing over to his office. Di Nuo has gone. Wu Fengling looked at Yi Qing. Yi Qing Tang had already predicted this. With Di Nuo's character, he would never crawl out of the Netherworld Academy in accordance with the bet. But his reputation had already been besmeared and he had no choice but to leave. Are you going to rebuke me for being too ruthless? Yi Qing asked. Wu Fengling shook his head. I have heard about the entire matter from Wen Qi. You were not at fault. Yi Qing Tang was somewhat surprised. She thought that Wu Fengling would admonish her. I called you here to discuss something with you. Wu Fengling explained. President, please go ahead. Wu Fengling continued. It will be the Inter-Academy competition soon. And the venue will not be on our mainland. It will be a long journey and we need to leave in advance. We will be heading for the venue of the Inter-Academy competition in 3 days, so you should start to make the necessary preparations. Yi Qing Tang subconsciously heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, she felt very uneasy staying on this mainland. Who knew what was happening with the Temple of Paragon? It was better for her to go as far as possible. Apart from that, this year's Inter-Academy competition will be a bit different. I am not sure of the details for now, but Yi Qing, I hope that you can be the lead teacher for this competition, Wu Fengling continued. Lead teacher? Yi Qing Tang was puzzled. Wu Fengling explained. For every Inter-Academy competition, each student would have their own teacher to mentor them throughout the entire competition. Most of the matches are one-on-one, so there is no major issue there. But one of the categories is a team competition which will require a teacher to participate. Although a teacher had to participate in the team competition, there were certain rules and limitations that applied. Only normal teachers were allowed to participate. Presidents, vice presidents, and faculty heads were not allowed. Chapter 2361, Universe City, 1, What do I need to do? Yi Qing Tang asked. Wu Fengling replied, in the past competitions, the lead teacher just needed to keep watch on the competition arena surroundings, just in case. But there seem to be some changes this year. You will only know of the details when you arrive. Yi Qing Tang nodded. She did not find anything strange about this. Anyway, she would definitely be guiding her own brats. She would feel uneasy if someone else performed the task. Besides, Wu Fengling must have taken all things into consideration before deciding to give such an important task to Yi Qing. Yi Qing had a pretty high cultivation level and was highly skilled in alchemy. It was no surprise that he was the most suitable candidate. Since Wu Fengling assigned Yi Qing to guide Lei Yan and the others as they already knew each other well, it was the best choice. After Wu Fengling gave his instructions, he let Yi Qing go back first. As Yi Qing Tang returned, she thought of the Evil Soul Forest. With her current cultivation stage, it would take at most a day to travel to and fro the Evil Soul Forest. But Yi Qingtang also heard that there has been an increasing number of factions entering the forest. Many factions from the second domain were making their move. She heard that during this period of time, a few of the factions had obtained quite a number of treasures from the Fiend Celestial's tomb. The news was rather strange. Yi Qingtang was well aware of how dangerous the Fiend Celestial's tomb was. Just that giant snake guarding the treasure trove was enough to kill off all the factions. Even if someone was lucky enough to carry off one or two treasures from the tomb, it was a very low probability. But according to the news, the number of instances of treasures being brought out had far surpassed the reasonably expected amount. Yi Qingtang felt that something was not quite right. But as she had yet to go and investigate, she was not sure what was going on. Several days passed in the blink of an eye. The Netherworld Academy team that was to participate in the Inter-Academy competition set off. Wu Fengling remained in the Netherworld Academy to hold down the fort, and the team was led by Vice President Wen Qi. Having trained so hard for so long, the teenagers finally embarked on their journey. The Heaven Mainland was located in the ocean of the second domain. It was a wide expanse of land and the most vibrant martial arts place in the second domain. On a regular basis, the elite academies from the various mainlands would lead their top students to this mainland to compete in the Inter-Academy competition, which was held in Universe City on Heaven Mainland. It was rumored that many years ago, the mainland's biggest temple used to be located where Universe City was now. The temple worshipped a powerful god, but after the god disappeared, the temple was destroyed in the battle and completely flattened. Many years later, people started to build a new city on that piece of land. This city was usually sealed off and no one was allowed to enter or leave. It was only opened during the Inter-Academy competition. Like this, the originally empty city would become exceptionally lively during this period. After arriving at Universe City, Lei Yan observed his surroundings with curiosity as his eyes surveyed the bustling shops lining the streets. I thought apart from those who are here for the competition, there would be no one else. I didn't expect it to be so vibrant and filled with so many shops. Nangong Lai had clearly done his research. Of course. The students sent here by the various academies are all the cream of the crop amongst the elite. Most of them are from wealthy family clans who had invested much effort to groom them, all with vast resources at their fingertips. As long as there are rich people around, you don't need to worry about there being nothing to buy. Chapter 2362, Universe City, 2, wow. Look at that. Are they selling spirit animals? I have always wanted one. I must go and take a look later. Lei Yan was a young master of a family clan. Even so, his eyes lit up as he chatted with Nangong Lai, his movements becoming clumsy with excitement at the thought of going on a shopping spree. Yi Qingtang couldn't help feeling exasperated at those two lively brats. The others were quieter. Only those two chatted non-stop. Yi Qing, we will be heading to one of the residence halls later. That's the assembly point for the various academies. Apart from us, there will be people from the other schools. Wen Qi glanced at the teenagers behind him before speaking to Yi Qing. The Netherworld Academy had sent quite a big team this time. This was also Yi Qing's first time here, and it was only natural for Wen Qi to offer more advice. Yi Qingtang nodded. Universe City had 4 residence halls, each located on the 4 corners of the city. The Netherworld Academy had been assigned to the North Hall. When they arrived, several teenagers from the other academies were already coming in and out of the place. Yi Qingtang instructed Lei Yan and the others to stay close to her. The brats followed behind her, their eyes filled with curiosity. Males and females were separated in the building. Mu Ziying and the other teenage girls from the Netherworld Academy were sent to another section. Yi Qingtang led the remaining 9 bumbling boys to another part of the building. Lei Yan and Nangong Lai were still whispering to each other. At some point in time, Gong Jinyun and Hang Wenwei had also been dragged into their conversation, and the 4 of them huddled together, talking quietly. Damn, are those guys from the Sky Martial Academy? Lei Yan acted like he had just discovered a new mainland. He gazed at a team of white-clad teenagers with shining eyes. Those teenagers were only in their late teens. Making their way through the crowd of students, their white outfits made them look exceptionally striking. Where? Nangong Lai also became very excited, sticking his head up to look. Is that Xiaoyi Han? Lei Yan's eyes landed on the male leading the group. The mention of the name Xiaoyi Han made Yi Qingtang pause. She looked up to see the handsome face of the boy and saw that his eyes were cold and he exuded an aloof aura. Yi Qingtang knew the name Xiaoyi Han as she had heard of him in her previous life when she came to the second domain. But that would be many years later. By then, Xiaoyi Han would become the top practitioner in the second domain and was very famous. In her previous life, Jing Zhe, whose bloodline remained sealed, would clash with Xiaoyi Han many years later. The two of them once battled for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, Jing Zhe would flee in defeat. Yi Qingtang looked in turn at Xiaoyi Han, then at Jing Zhe. The Jing Zhe of now had awakened his bloodline under Yi Qingtang's guidance. The tragedy that happened in her previous life would not occur. How high do you think Xiaoyi Han's cultivation level is now? I heard that he already reached the Divine Lord stage when he was just 12 years old. He's a real freak. He should be about 18 or 19 now, right? TSK, how high must his cultivation level be now? Lei Yan gaped at Xiaoyi Han. He knew of Xiaoyi Han because his father always talked about that genius teenager to torment him, a Divine Lord stage at 12 years old. The expressions of Qin Feng and the others shifted slightly at Lei Yan's words. Everyone subconsciously turned their attention to Ran Mo. Also a genius teenager.